I don't. There. Okay. Now I'm getting some.
Mortgage One Studios live from there. Russ Clark Show, and of course, Dean's with me.
I am glad to be here too. Already having a great time this morning.
Well, yeah, Derek was in here for quite a while. It's nice
Yeah,
of him
and
to take
I
some-
cornered him while I could. You know, he's a brilliant guy, so I love to talk to people that are smarter than me.
and he works hard.
He does.
He does.
It
He
appears
works-
to me he works really hard. And
It's Derek Egbert.
It shows.
He's the owner here at Mortgage One, and it's the one that's working to acquire the signal for AM 560.
I'm glad that you can talk about that now. Are you at leisure to, or are you able to release any kind of details? Like, are you looking at 6 months or 6 weeks?
I wish we knew. Well,
Yeah,
we knew.
okay.
Well, you know, all we know is that we've got two willing parties that are exchanging information right now, and there's nothing signed as of yet. But both sides are very hopeful and want to get the transaction done. So
that's very positive.
That is positive. It doesn't guarantee an outcome.
No, it doesn't.
I've seen stupid happen.
A lot. I've seen a lot of stupid in my life.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so skeptical.
Yeah, you are the most skeptical person I know.
Like, gosh, that's such a great compliment.
Yeah, well,
I love that.
I meant it. I didn't mean it as a negative.
No, I didn't think you did, but I mean, I work at being skeptical. I think my whole philosophy of life, well, no, that's not true. I have learned more and more skepticism the older I got.
Do you? Well, I run things by you just knowing you're going to be skeptical and cause me to even research or do more or look at it differently or whatever. But I like it. I accept it.
I think you find it worthwhile.
Yeah, I do. And but I don't think there's enough people that are that skeptical, or some, because most people make up their minds negative or positive. Like if you've got Trump derangement syndrome, you already know that what he did was bad.
Yeah, I was talking to a young woman. Young to me, she's 42. Okay.
Oh, very young.
And I won't name names because she's very smart. And she was putting forward an argument by authority because she said she'd studied the subject we were talking about intensely for years, and therefore I should listen to her. And it's an argument. It's not a terribly bad argument because I use it with my daughter and she doesn't listen to me either. But anyway, the problem was I told her that there's a real big problem in the United States and around the world that peer review doesn't mean anything anymore because we find, like, especially in medicine and in psychology, something like 80% of papers are not replicable. It's a huge amount. I may be wrong on the number. Maybe it's only 60.
I mean, nobody can read.
When they try to redo the experiment, they come up with different results.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Or they're done in such a way that they can't be replicated.
I thought you were going to talk. We can't trust it because, like, a lot of the scientists are all on the payroll of the government.
Well, that's all part of this.
Okay.
Because the way, it's publish or perish is a sort of real thing at the universities.
Yeah.
If you get papers published, it helps you gain tenure and status and money and all that stuff. So people have a lot of pressure to publish papers.
Okay.
Unfortunately, a lot of it doesn't make much sense. They start out with a premise and they gather data and they're not very careful about the selection process. And then they write something up that isn't replicable. The whole idea of science, the way science is supposed to work, is that you say, I think I found this out. I was looking at a problem. I didn't know how this worked. Mm-hmm. So I made a hypothesis that well, first off, you gather data and you say, I think I've got an understanding of how this works. And here's my hypothesis.
Right.
And then you figure a way to test the hypothesis. Now, when I say you gather data, that's for a natural experiment. But for most experiments, you then create or design an experimental design that will allow you to test the hypothesis to see whether or not your hypothesis is backed up by the data, by what you gather from the experiment. But so much of what we're doing today is extremely statistical. you're looking for very small variations in large iterations, and small changes in the way the data is gathered can mean can make the difference whether something is statistically meaningful or not. Just a couple of tiny little changes. The classic experiment that showed this started making me more skeptical. One of the contributors was the Rhine experiments with where, I'm trying to think what the university was. Right at the tip of my tongue. But this person was trying to test to see if people had ESP, extrasensory perception.
Oh, that's an older.
It's an old one.
Yes. Okay.
And they did an experiment with cards.
Yeah.
And what they did was try to see if someone could get slightly better than random results for these cards, but they didn't control for cheating. And it turned out there's several ways that people could cheat, and they didn't have to win much by cheating to get better statistical results than average by a little bit.
And they get labeled as ESP.
And then that was labeled as ESP. And then I had a separate experience. Now, this guy that I worked with, and I actually was put on the paper as a co-writer because I helped gather the data for it. And I was down in Panama. I was team chief of meteorology team down there, and we had a lot of historical records. This isn't the modern problem with replicability because we had these records and it all was done properly. And he asked, my contribution was putting the data into a format so that he could put it into a computer and analyze it. And I had the records. So on my time off, I'd take some records home and I'd go through them. It took a lot of work. And along the way, I noticed a small handwritten note by somebody I know. I won't mention the name. And they had changed the timekeeping on the records from solar time to local time. It's not much of a change, a few minutes at most a day. But the researcher was looking for small variations to show that climate change was influencing the cloud cover over the Isthmus of Panama. And it looked like there was something that was statistically viable. But when he found that the timekeeping had changed,
wasn't apples to apples.
It all went away.
Yeah.
And it was one little handwritten note in the data over years of data.
And then you look back at all the time you spent doing that, and the data was garbage.
It was absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, the data was not gathered to look at climate change. It was gathered for other things.
Right.
But the thing is that's what we see is sometimes tiny little changes can make a huge statistical difference. And in today's fields where you're looking at statistics, you can have two people look at almost exactly the same data, make slightly different assumptions about what is important, and get diametrically opposite results.
I think we're finding that in climate change.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Science. I wonder if it is a science.
Well, it's become a money-making industry.
Yes.
I mean, we've spent. I've heard estimates.
Trillions
We've spent
of dollars.
trillions of dollars, trillions, not millions, not billions,
Yeah.
trillions on what amounts to fantasy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying the climate doesn't change. It does. It's changing all the time. That's why climate change.
But isn't it a little arrogant to think we have that much control over it too?
Right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I just saw a paper where I read it, and it sounded like it was pretty well done. And they were looking at core sample data from Greenland. And there's a way that you can use the amount of oxygen that you find frozen in the bubbles of the ice to figure out what the temperature was at the time. It's a pretty close. You get a pretty good idea from that. And what the data showed, and this had not been published. I mean, the data had been published, but the people who originally wrote the papers with the data didn't look at the data this way. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so this guy looked at the data and he says, "Oh, it seems like about 1 out of 6 periods of 1,000 years, the temperature is higher than it is today in the last, 10,000 years or 20,000
Well,
years."
that didn't go over well because I mean, they're looking for the opposite.
Well, what it showed is that we're well within natural
Right.
variation. And if we're within natural variation,
And why do we spend trillions of dollars?
exactly. And it's that type of thing that has made me very
The
skeptical.
amount of money we spent in this country for climate change is just mind-boggling, ridiculous. But it's political, and
Well,
it goes to a lot of political activists that are working on.
you get enormous people have made careers out of this, and there are people who were extremely well thought of professional climatologists who are driven out of their jobs because they wouldn't go along with the program.
Oh yeah, yeah. We only have room for the climatologists that agree with us.
Yeah, because the science is settled. Of course,
Yeah.
science is never settled in the way they think they try to claim it is.
I know, and we've been struggling with it. I don't know where it stands right now. I mean,
But that's not where the climate stuff is not where most of the studies that are not replicable.
No, but
Most of them are in medical and
so
in psychology.
it's the one everyone's aware of. It. We've been beat over the head with it.
Right, that's right. Now the point I was trying to make to get back to finish up, the young woman said, "Well, if you don't believe in peer-reviewed scientific studies, there's no point in talking to you."
She told you that.
Yeah.
You do believe in it though, but you just think,
Well, I gave her an example, my bear studies of how peer-reviewed stuff can be absolute junk.
Mm.
And I'm not saying those studies are junk. I'm saying they're used in a way that is inappropriate.
yeah, but she
Well, she understood that. She asked me about it. "Oh, you mean they had selection bias this way and they admit it?" "Yes." "Oh, that's a real problem."
okay.
She understood that. I just didn't have the time, and I didn't want to take all the time in what was basically a social setting to try to turn somebody's opinion formed over many years and who's very smart, and it's just not worth the effort.
It's not, because some of these people, like you said, formed over many years. It becomes part of them. I mean, you can't take
Yes,
away
right.
their identity.
And that would be what I would be trying to do, and I was not absolutely certain that she was wrong,
Yeah.
because these things like how human nature works are extremely fluid and complicated and many factors, and there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think human nature at a base is fairly well fixed, but there's a lot of variability within that base, or above that base, depending on how you look at it.
Did you know Cesar Chavez Day has been canceled?
No.
Oh, are you heartbroken?
Well, I'm
See,
mixed.
what do you know about Cesar Chavez?
Well, I know he's a big labor organizer.
Sure.
He was against illegal immigration. He
Yeah, he liked closed borders. He wanted
he
the border.
did.
Yeah.
He did not want an open border. I think I would have been mostly opposed to him if I were a farmer at the time.
Oh, I've talked to a lot of farmers that were.
Yeah.
That
I don't know. It might have turned out better eventually.
but a lot of the farmers told me, some things about Cesar Chavez that were seedy,
Yeah.
and stuff. And
I think that I've read some of the biography,
yeah,
and I think those stories are probably, at least some of them are correct, but it's just common that men particularly, and now probably women too, in maybe in slightly different ways, but men particularly tend to be corrupted by power, and Caesar accumulated quite a bit of power.
yes, probably. But these allegations and these rumors have been out there apparently for many years. I was listening to it 30 years ago. People were telling me
Right.
about Cesar Chavez. And I was like, I have no idea, because I didn't grow up in the area. And of course, we've got streets around here named Cesar Chavez.
Well, here's the thing. Humans are fallible.
Yes.
And we're all sinners.
Yeah.
And even if somebody is a horrible sinner, they can still do great things.
Sure. Yeah. No question.
And I'm just saying, you can apply that to Caesar. You can apply it to President Trump. I mean, I think he's. I would not have thought his personal life was exemplary,
No,
but he is the man of the hour doing great things.
he's had 3 wives.
And they are not, and his wives don't hate him. His
No,
former
they all
wives.
like him. But, you know, many that don't like Trump will point out he's a womanizer
Well, yeah.
or probably,
And I think that's very accurate.
yep, probably. Don't know. And then there's that interview he had in a locker room where he made a rude comment.
Yeah.
Rude comment. And of course, the people that hate him will bring that up on a regular basis. Like that defines his entire being.
That's kind of the point I was trying to make about Cesar Chavez, is that just because somebody is fallible and makes mistakes doesn't mean they can't accomplish great things.
Correct. And you saw how the left was and you know, when it's political, the left will attack Trump constantly on stuff like that, and he shouldn't be around. Or Supreme Court justices Kavanaugh did something 30 years ago, but the person can't remember it, and it was a real weak thing. But the left was just going nuts. And, well, that just disqualifies him from living on the planet as a human.
Well, my take on this is it used to work for them.
Yeah.
When they controlled the narrative, because they controlled most of the media. The vast majority of the media was progressive, you know, before, I'd say, 1994. Probably from 65 to 90, 64 to 94.
But when it came to prominent Democrats, whether it was Clinton or Martin Luther King rumors and all that stuff, just angry that you would even say something. Like
well, yes, that's the point. You
can't say anything bad about this great man.
If you were a Democrat, you had to commit really serious crimes, and then only if you got caught was it a scandal. But if you were a Republican, jaywalking was a scandal.
Yeah, I think so.
And I have a close friend of mine. I've lost contact with him, but we were, for a while, we were roommates in college, and we went to ROTC together. And he majored in journalism and worked his way up to a major network in Minneapolis. And he got out because he said, anytime I break a story with a scandal about Republicans, it gets, and I'm paraphrasing, front page news, but I break a scandal about Democrats, it gets the can, you know, it gets killed.
And that's the way it's always been that I've seen.
It's changed.
Well, it has. And Cesar Chavez, these scandals have been rumored for years. I know nothing about them. I can't, you know, I'm new to the area. I didn't study Cesar Chavez by any means, but I've heard these little bits and pieces. No big deal to me. I mean, whatever.
But I'm saying it's no more one-sided.
No,
we now have enough of a fractured.
But the left has gone after Cesar now.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I didn't know that. That's what you were getting at.
I was getting at the left has changed, and now they canceled this thing. So I was real curious of what our politicians are saying, and even Anita Grijalva has come out and just says she is.
What's the reason? Is because he behaved badly with a woman somewhere?
Yes. Apparently there's allegations, and it doesn't go into any detail. I mean, there's no detail in these stories, and I didn't look at it, thoroughly, but there's no details. Just that he had issues with women that worked for the United Farm Workers, and that was an organization that he formed, the union, the United Farm Workers, that he had some issues. I don't know any details about what
I've
they were.
Heard the same thing about the former representative Grijalva.
Grijalva had he has an issue on record of allegations by women and of him being a drunk and inappropriate with women somehow. I don't know if it's inappropriate language or whatever it was.
Well, that's what I
heard. But the funding that they have in Congress for these kind of protection things goes in, and they paid that woman off or paid for legal fees and everything, because they see that politicians are high profile and they're going to get attacked occasionally, and sometimes they're going to get attacked unfairly. Look at Trump.
Sure.
Yeah. And so there's a recognition of that's part of the job. So it's a job injury when you get attacked unfairly. So they have funds to take care of that.
I don't think they differentiate between unfairly and not.
Well, I'm talking the reason they set it up. may not always work out that way.
What I'm saying is they recognize that they're a serious target. They have serious vulnerabilities and set up a defense mechanism.
But I'm kind of blown away that this Cesar Chavez thing all of a sudden comes up. We canceled the day. The Cesar Chavez celebration, the Cesar Chavez Day on his 99th birthday, being canceled ahead of what's being described as deeply troubling allegations.
Allegations, but I mean,
That's
they're not
all it
even
is.
proven. They're just allegations.
So it must be pretty serious. And it's the left. It's the left that are doing it. You know, the mayor of Tucson,
They're destroying themselves.
Adelita Grijalva, you know, she feels bad for the women and we need to trust them. They didn't say that about, you know, the women that accused Clinton of things.
Or Trump.
Well, they say it about Trump. I mean, if there's a woman accused Trump of anything.
Well, I guess I'm looking at it the opposite direction than you are here on this. I'm saying that they would not. They constantly go after Trump, but they didn't go after Clinton. Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Or Martin Luther.
I kind of mangled it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. They treat it totally differently. Like an allegation against a Republican has always been a conviction.
Yeah.
Or allegations against a Democrat is you know, trailer trash coming out of the closet, you know.
Yeah.
As Hillary would call, until the dress popped up, she was just trailer trash making up lies.
Yeah, she got a settlement. Paula Jones, I think.
Yeah, she finally did, and then she kind of disappeared.
Yeah, well,
she stayed low profile. She wanted to,
but that was smart.
But the Cesar Chavez Foundation, and there's a whole foundation for there, says in partnership with the United Farm Workers, we are establishing a safe and confidential process for those who wish to share their experiences of historic harm. And if they choose to participate in efforts towards repair and reconciliation, in addition, we are investing time and resources to ensure the foundation promotes the strength and strengthens a workplace culture that is safe and welcoming for all. We ask our community's patience as we learn throughout this process. Our organization and our partners in the movement will continue our work together to protect and uplift the families and communities that we serve, which is totally, usually they would come out and say something like, this is outrageous that people accuse somebody.
Yeah.
But it's not that at all. We got to take care of these ladies that have come forward. But I think they came forward decades ago.
Yeah. It's a puzzlement to me that I think they've maxed out these cards. You know, they used to say they maxed out the race card, but
I don't understand what came forward that made everybody flip so fast. They're not saying what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're just saying it's involving abuse of young women or minors. That's it.
You know, I think that I need to start a fund so people can send me reparations for the vast harm that the Roman legions did to my ancestors in Germany. Yeah. They enslaved them. They attacked them. They exploited them. It was horrible.
I don't think it's going to work for you. It just doesn't seem.
It's a good thought. It's the same idea.
Well, this article even says it's unclear at this time what the source of the allegations are. They don't know.
I mean, but anybody can make an allegation. I mean,
but
you don't have to be all you have to say is this happened and you're supposed to be believed.
This is allegations that's scaring the left somehow.
Somehow
and I thought they would all be jumping up against you. Like, how dare you? No, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're saying we're going to try to help these women, including Adelita Grijalva.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's odd because you would like to have some idea of what it is they're talking about.
I just feel like the world flipped upside down.
Well,
I don't know how to take that. Because he's been a hero to the Democrat Party.
He has, but there's many others. I mean, you know, and what was that? The Me Too movement? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
And it kind of went out of vogue because, you know, people realized it had gotten to the sort of the witch hunt, not quite to the guillotine stage yet, but kind of close.
It was close.
Yeah, we'll throw people in jail, we'll ruin their lives, we'll take their money, whatever.
They were spouting at the time. You have to believe women. You have to believe them.
Yeah, because women never lie.
They won't.
I'm sorry. I mean that sarcastically.
I know you do.
I want to put that out very clearly because women, like men, often lie when it suits their purpose.
They're people.
Exactly. They're humans.
And we're all flawed.
We are all flawed.
Yeah. So
I know I'm certainly flawed.
Well, I think the politics I don't understand anymore because of this thing has changed me. But we'll try to figure it out and see if we can.
Yeah, and we might get more information. Who knows? It could happen.
I really was looking for it this morning. Like, what the heck are they accusing him of? That all these people flipped? Because the allegations have been out there for since I got to
Yeah,
Yuma.
I mean, for a long time. And like I said, the thing was for decades, allegations against leftists didn't go anywhere, but allegations against conservatives
it was like a
grew
conviction.
legs. Yeah.
Yeah. Kavanaugh still, he looks at, in the left, they look at him like a predator.
Well, and what we find out is that McCarthy was mostly right. I mean, correct.
Yeah.
Now we
Correct.
find that out.
Something else that shocks me. I spent a lot of time just trying to figure out how has the world changed a little bit.
Well,
it's always changing.
It's always changing, but it's how much.
A
We're in a period of intense change, technologically, politically, almost everything.
Everything. A lot of hate out there, and that's hard to maneuver.
Unfortunately,
the during this walkout, when we had this walkout of high schools for anti-ICE protests.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, a few.
I mean, there've been a lot of
few
them.
weeks
I
ago.
was thinking, oh, you mean those Second Amendment ones a few years ago?
No,
There's a lot.
It was just a few weeks ago, and we had them in Yuma. It was well organized throughout the entire country,
right?
And there was a lot of those NGOs involved and paying money to make sure they marketed it and got it all out there,
right?
Well, and there was a California high school that did just like the Yuma high schools did. The kids walked out. One of the kids in a high school at Torrey Pines High School in San Diego, he decided that he put up some flyers together that says "I love ICE," real, and signed it "Real Americans," and he put some flyers out there. Well, he got suspended.
Oh, there's a lawsuit.
He got suspended. Of course, nobody that walked out and screamed about
in this
ICE
particular school.
In his school, anyway, got anything.
Because I have heard of other cases where people who walked out were suspended.
Well, this school, they said school did not sanction the protest, but they did tell students that they would be marked truant if they walked out of school, and a letter sent to parents about the student getting suspended was posted to social media, which launched a campaign against school. Well, the suspension was posted. But what they did to the protesters was mark their absence and let the parents know. That's better than we did in Yuma. We didn't do that.
Okay.
So I thought, well, that's a California.
Well, but anyway, state, a lot of variation.
They fired the school, the principal.
Oh, interesting.
I'm shocked. Well, I say fired him. He resigned
under pressure,
unexpectedly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can fill in the blanks.
He's Rob Capo. He announced his resignation as principal of the school. It is time for me to enter a new role in education, but I've been forever shaped by my time leading this incredible school. The search will soon begin for my successor, and rest assured that we will find a highly qualified educational leader to carry on the proud tradition of excellence this school is known for.
He's got away with words, or he uses AI.
Yeah. In other words, he was fired. But he doesn't want to.
It's not quite exactly that,
But he doesn't want to make
how many situations you've been in where an employee is given a choice? Either you resign or.
But he was nearing retirement.
Oh, better yet.
And he never referenced the ICE controversy. He didn't reference it. And good for him. I think that's
smart.
Just quality.
He's not stupid.
Quality guy. Yeah. Some online commentary suggested students were disciplined because of their political views. But that claim was inaccurate, according to the district. The district does not discipline students because of their political viewpoints. Then why was the kid suspended?
Yeah,
they don't really say.
Well, they may have some policy you cannot put out handbills or something like that,
unless it says ICE, because they did put those out too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the district promotes all lawful exercises of free speech and students' rights to express their viewpoints while also maintaining school campuses that are safe, orderly, and respectful learning environments for everyone. Just some PR gibberish.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like we're perfect.
Yeah, what's the reality on the ground? I'd talk to parents there, talk to students, you'll get a different picture.
But I was kind of shocked. The principal lost his job for suspending an anti-ICE student.
Well, we used to say that the American public didn't pay attention. Maybe they're starting to.
In bits and pieces, but we'll take it, right?
Yeah,
we'll take all those moves. Well,
it's part of this. There's so much more information out there. You can't bottle this up anymore. I mean, there's so many people with phones and
But it never used to. It
podcasts.
never used to matter. It would just go over people and wouldn't even affect them. It was like
We
they
did.
would say, "Well, you're just saying that because you're a Trump lover or something," and just ignore the message.
Well, I think it has reached a critical point, where the old dominant media, as I used to call them, they have put out so many lies that
Right.
people can easily see for themselves. And it used to be a joke between myself and peers, and we'd say, "Did you ever read a newspaper article where you had expert knowledge about what went on and they got it right?"
It's a good question.
And it was like, no, they almost always get
But-
major things wrong.
But I'd like to qualify that a lot of stories get it right, but they only tell a very small portion of the story.
Yeah, right. That's a very good point, Russ.
Yeah.
And also, we cannot expect, since I've now done a lot of writing myself, you can't expect a reporter to be expert on everything, which is
No.
why I mostly write about stuff I'm expert on.
Right. But even if like we gave a story on Cesar Chavez, we're not an expert on him or his life, and I say that.
Correct.
I have an understanding of what's really going on right now.
Yeah.
And that's all I try to get out there. I don't try to say I'm not judging the movement. I'm confused by it.
Yeah, I understand.
But this helped straighten me out so that my confusion cleared up.
Oh, good.
Nick Shirley, you know the name.
I do know the
Nick
name.
Shirley in Minnesota is the one that
Yeah.
found the Leering centers
Well,
and went viral.
He had the talent and the means
He's a kid.
to make it palatable and understandable to the vast majority of Americans.
He is a punk kid. I say that in jest, but that did something meaningful and something that you say, well, why didn't we do that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And he's an
did it.
exemplar to whole lots of other people who say, I could do something like that.
The journalists stopped being journalists. I mean, and
Well, like my story
completely
about
journalists years ago.
my friend in Minneapolis who just quit in disgust because he became a journalist.
But he could have become Nick Shirley. But we don't look outside the box.
We didn't have cell phones at the time.
Oh, okay, it was a while ago. But look, he's been compared to 60 Minutes, which I think is fair. The 60 Minutes of the old, not the new.
Yeah. Well, it's unfair because 60 Minutes would never have done that story.
In the past, they might have.
No. You look at 60 Minutes; they were always far left. They always covered up.
Well, it was not unusual for them to show up to a place of business.
Yes,
and then
they
you'd go,
they
"Oh
would
no!"
cut their footage to get what they wanted.
Yes, I
it
can.
was very ideological.
I can agree with that. But they had the same impact as a Nick Shirley. They would just destroy conservative businesses.
Right. And Nick Shirley is probably an equal opportunity destroyer. If he had a scandal like that on the right, he'd probably expose it too.
I get that impression.
But the thing is that the right doesn't have as many scandals because they've had their hands slapped so many times by the old media. So they're much more careful.
I think that's a great viewpoint I hadn't thought of. But yeah, they have to be more careful because they've got guard dogs.
Right. Exactly. The media performed their guard dog function,
which is
against conservatives very well, and so the conservatives are really careful about how they do stuff.
That's why they're mentioned in the Constitution that we need a free press to keep us straight.
I don't think it says that exactly.
No, it doesn't say that. But
it says, we won't. The exercise of a free press is part of our rights under the First Amendment.
Or first, Second Amendment.
So
the gun one.
Second Amendment, fine.
First Amendment.
Yeah,
but
and there's a great.
But the reasoning for it was they realized that we needed an independent press to keep it straight.
And they had an independent press. It was a fractured partisan press, which we are returning to today.
Yeah.
It was not centrally controlled. Most people realized that when they read a newspaper, which were small affairs at the time, anybody with not even a couple $100 back then, maybe a couple hundred, which would be a lot of money back then, could put up a press and start publishing it. And if people would read it, they could just about pay for themselves too. And if you're really good, like Ben Franklin, you could make money at it.
Oh, he did.
But Jefferson had a particular press he supported, and I think Hamilton had one, and Adams, or maybe a couple of them got together. But almost all of the newspapers at the time were partisan. They represented one particular party or faction over another
but
or viewpoint. They all had viewpoints and people knew it.
but not one party had a lock on all of them.
No, because everybody could set them up so easily.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today. Anybody
It's true.
with a few dollars and a computer can get on the internet. And that's what I did. And I started publishing stuff. And if you're publishing something that people have value, you can make a go of it.
And it's become big time. Look at Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah. And he's brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. It allows the internet is about as close to a meritocracy as you could get.
Well, that's
there's a lot of fraudsters out there.
That's what's breaking up journalism. And then you've got the Nick Shirley that's breaking up journalism and doing.
It's not breaking up journalism. It's reinventing journalism.
I think that's more accurate. If you're a seasoned journalist on the left, he's breaking it up for you.
Well, that's right, because your sinecure is gone.
Yeah.
You know, Nick Shirley did this for almost no money.
Right.
A seasoned journalist wouldn't touch it for under $200,000 a year.
Well, Nick Shirley may end up with that.
He may, but it's not a sure bet.
No, but he's an apprentice. I think he's 23. I think I read something.
He's sharp. He thought out the process and what they could do. He had help.
He has guts.
He has guts, but he had help. He had whistleblowers that helped him a lot.
Of course.
Because the Minnesota government would not listen to them.
The whistleblowers are in the video with him in Minnesota.
Yes.
And those are guys that have been working it for years.
Yes.
And they had all the facts and they've been screaming and nobody is listening.
Right.
Nick Shirley puts it on the air and it goes viral nationwide and changes the complexion of the nation.
Absolutely.
Kind of amazing.
And that's it. You can almost look at it. I mean, that video is sort of like Thomas Paine's, Common Sense, or what was the pamphlet that he wrote? I'm thinking of it, and I can't. That's terrible. I'll think of it in a minute.
I got a copy of it at home. I'm gonna get it.
I think, isn't it like Common Sense? Or
Common Sense is it? I think, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
I'll have to take a look.
We'll have to look. But the point is that pamphlet.
I have my cell phone over there.
His pamphlet was sort of the viral media of its day. And it changed the complexion of the way people looked at the relationship between America and England.
Right.
And Nick Shirley's documentary is kind of like the same thing.
Well, it hasn't stopped. And I don't know if you know that, but he just took on California.
Well, I've seen other, he's done updates on some other stuff. And of course, now he's got an audience. He's got people that realize he's serious and he puts out interesting stuff. And so he has a lot of, I think, subscribers. He's probably doing pretty well. And that's great because it means that no one organization or ideology has a lock on the flow of information.
Right.
And for, I would say, at least 30 years, probably longer, one ideology, I would claim, the progressive ideology, had a lock on the flow of information in the United States.
Not anymore. But now Nick Shirley is in California. We'll get into a little bit about what he's already done. But the interesting part, and the part that made me feel like politics are still working like I understand them, so I'm not totally lost.
Okay.
Gavin Newsom came right out of his office. His office came out and started accusing him of being like a pedophile and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's Nick Shirley?
Nick Shirley. Well, because he goes to daycares. So he thinks he wants to look at kids.
Wow, that's a stretch.
Well, they stretched it a little bit like that in Minnesota. Like, why does he want to look at kids? What is he, a weird guy or something?
This is kind of weird because I think it looks to me that Newsom is in a hole and digging it deeper all the time.
Yes. But let me see.
I mean, he was a contender. I don't think he's a serious contender for a presidential slot.
Let me see right here. Gavin Newsom office on social media after it mocked his efforts to expose alleged fraud of daycare centers receiving millions of dollars of government funding. Newsom's office mocked Shirley by posting a photo of a man carrying several cameras at a daycare and asking a teacher, "Hey, can I see your kids?" So that came out of his office trying to discredit him. Of course, this
is going to backfire on him because he's just bringing attention to it.
Tim Walz tried to discredit him a lot, but nobody listened to Tim at that point.
Well, Tim has done a lot of discrediting of himself.
Shirley comes out. You do realize I'm trying to help America eliminate fraud and waste, right? And that's how he replied to it. He says, no need to try and make me look like the bad guy for exposing fraud.
Oh, I think the Democrats hate the idea of exposing fraud.
Yeah, people are over it. Start working for the people. Nice response. But I saw some of the videos he did, and they're kind of shocking. But he did the same thing he did in Minneapolis, but he didn't go out. He said there was no Somalis to go after. I mean, he didn't have anybody screaming in his ear.
Right.
The Somalis are behind it, so he just took daycare centers randomly off a list that were getting government funds.
Okay.
And when he got there, the first one, it was a private residence that was labeled as a business, had 12 children, got $1 million or something. I don't know. And
12 children that got over how long?
Over periods of time. But he knocked on the door, and the lady wouldn't let him in. Recognized him for who he is.
Oh, interesting.
And she was Somali.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And I had no idea. So the second one he went to was also Somali. And I didn't know we had.
This is just odd. I wonder if he.
I didn't have any, and he kept saying,
were they called, leering centers?
No.
Oh, okay. I wondered.
No.
How did that happen?
They did away with the leering. He kept mentioning that he didn't. This is random. I'm just randomly doing it, and he would look. One was a hotel that was converted. It wasn't a hotel anymore. It was a converted hotel.
Yeah, into apartments or something.
Had lots of expensive cars in the hotel parking lot.
Okay.
And there were multiple leering centers in there.
Oh, gee.
Multiple. So they would go up and knock on a door and look, and no answers. Look in the door, and there's zero furniture, zero anything in the doors. And he would point out how many millions that this address has been getting.
This is brilliant journalism, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. And then there were people that finally noticed him and started complaining,
haranguing him.
Yeah, and one was in a Maybach. You know what a Maybach is?
No, I don't.
It's like a $300,000-$400,000 car, like a Rolls Royce type looking car, or something like that. That unrolled the window and said, "What are you doing around here?" and all that, And
I'm taking videos.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your name?
Exactly.
This is a nice car.
Yeah. And so they were trying to chase him off, but there was a ton of nameplate cars in this dilapidated old hotel area that didn't have any kids. Well, they did find one with kids.
Oh, they did? Good.
Yeah, there were 2 kids, which they blurred them out.
Yeah, okay.
They had blurred faces, those kids. 2 kids, no adults anywhere, and they didn't know where they were.
Oh,
I think that's worse. And
it sounds worse. Yeah.
And it was not clean.
How old were these kids? Do you know?
8, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Left alone.
I hear about
didn't know where the adults were.
Kids on 8 doing well by themselves in Bangladesh or something.
Yeah,
because they have to.
Maybe they joined the military.
Yeah, well, that's in Africa.
But we don't accept that. We don't accept that here. That's not good. That's child endangerment here.
Wow. Jeez, it makes me. I'm going to have to go look at these videos.
And then he had another one where there was a playground equipment, but there was so much trash and random junk piled in the yard in front of you couldn't get to the playground equipment.
Wow, he's doing good work.
Oh, he's doing great work, and he had other people with him. He also visited a shelter type area where it was in L.A. and it was somewhere near the ocean, but not right on the ocean, or maybe it was really close. And the city allowed them to build these shanties, no plumbing, no electricity, no.
Right, like people used to live before 1900.
Right. So they built, I think, 10 or 12 of them in a row, and they stopped building them because of some problem or whatever. But there's people living there. They have them as their address, but there's no toilets. There's no bathroom facilities anywhere.
Yeah.
And one guy says, "Yeah, I've lived here for 5 years." And stuff.
But he's essentially living on some of the most expensive real estate in the country on the beach in California, right?
It's close to the beach. Yeah, it's within.
Well, maybe not quite the most. Maybe the second most expensive.
You can see it from there.
Yeah,
and it's near like some highways or something. But they built these things, and then the residents here have piled more. The amount of piled of trash that's there is bigger than the buildings themselves.
Are they having a trash strike?
Well, it looks like like old couches and all kinds of stuff are just
yeah, it's a real problem.
Are just piled up there, and and he went into the and people invited him in. Come on in.
I like it.
Come on in. So he would go in, and the guys had two doors. He had the front door and a back door. He opened the back door, and you could see the beach or whatever. And Nick says, "Well, you could really use an air freshener in here." I thought, I don't know if that's journalism. That's awesome.
Well, it's I've lived in small places,
Yeah. Yeah.
just and yeah, they do. It's because you have food and stuff, and they do end up with a distinctive odor.
Yeah, well, he said there's no running water or anything like that. He says, well, how do you he's asking one guy, how do you shower or something? And I guess they go to a local fountain or someplace where there's water or something and
Well,
try to shower a little bit.
I've even when you travel, any truck stops will often have
They don't have
showers.
money. They can't afford the couple bucks to do that even.
Right. Yeah, and it's gotten so bad that commercial places won't let you use the
But
bathroom
then,
unless you're a customer.
But then he said, well, we don't have any bathrooms or anything. We just use a bucket. And they probably dumped that on someone's doorstep. I don't know. I have no idea.
Down a storm drain, most likely.
Yeah.
But I'd guess.
Nothing sanitary.
No.
No,
And
nothing good.
this is how we got some pretty nasty outbreaks of plague and such,
But the government here is not happy with Nick Shirley pointing these things out.
Yeah, because it shows how much they're failing. Yeah.
Gavin
When I say
Newsom's
plague's
Gavin Newsom.
not correct, but there are other diseases. I'm trying to think of them right now that
My
spread that way.
question is, and I thought about that. I saw the Nick Shirley up in Minnesota and all that, and how successful it was at getting attention to him, to Nick Shirley as a journalist, and giving him credibility,
Right.
and all that. And I thought, well, wow, we'll see a few more of these pop up. I haven't seen anybody.
I saw something just the other day, and I think it's the O'Keefe project. Maybe.
But James O'Keefe's been at it longer
Yeah,
than anybody.
but I don't know if it was him to start with. It was somebody reporting, and I'll probably get this wrong, but I think it was in the LA area, and there was a long line of people that were signing the petitions for, you get a petition to run for office. You had to get a certain number of signatures to get on the ballot.
Mhm.
I think that's what these were. And there was a long line of homeless people that were being paid $5 a piece to sign this petition with other people's names.
I saw that.
And And they go up to and they said, well, who should I sign? Well, sign with this name. What's this about? Just sign.
Because they're
all
taking
all that's illegal.
they're taking the names of registered voters and doing it.
And having somebody sign.
Have
Yeah.
somebody else sign it.
That's what I suspect, but
I remember seeing that report. I don't remember who did it either.
and it was recent.
Yeah.
But my understanding, I saw just the other day, I was looking, and I think O'Keefe is having reports on the same subject.
Good. More people need to. Apparently, it is. It's easy to find.
Yeah, that's what got me. Is this was right out in the open. There was no attempt to hide.
They don't have to work hard.
No
It's
attempt
all
to
over.
hide this. And it was in California. I remember that.
And all of these funds that are going out are, a lot of it is all federal funds.
Right.
And the feds don't watchdog it. The watchdog is the state. It's their responsibility to administer.
Yeah, right. But here's the thing. It's not their money, so they don't care.
Obviously.
But I would say that's probably imprecise, because I suspect a lot of them care if they get a chunk of it.
But well, they might. They know so. Well, if nothing else, it's helping their communities, because all that money is, whether it's buying Maybachs and Cadillacs and BMWs, it's creating business in their communities. It's channeling into their communities, and restaurants.
I'm trying to think who was the economist, Basquiat, I think it was, French economist, who said it's easy to make work. You can have one group of people dig holes and have the next group fill them in. Right. And everybody is employed, but you're not making anything of value.
Correct. And I'm not saying it's good for the economy, but it's taking federal money, not local money.
That's right.
And
so that's not good for the.
But here's the
country.
requirements. I mean, the money that the feds put long list of what you must do.
Right, but nobody's enforcing.
No, they have to be open from 6 a.m. to 6. They have to have playground equipment. They have to be clean. They have to be inspected twice a year by the state. So the state's supposed to be inspecting these things twice a year.
Yeah.
At least that's what I read in Minnesota stuff when he was doing those.
Yeah.
And And one of the state agencies, well, in fact, one of the representatives said, "Well, that's not possible because we inspect those twice a year." Well, you've inspected it twice a year, and there's no furniture, there's no playground,
Yeah, right.
and some of those buildings that Nick went to, like the
Yeah,
Learning Center, was there for 7 years, according to neighbors.
it sounds like what in the military referred to it as M1 pencil.
What is that reference?
That's reference that if you went on the firing range and you got a perfect score, was it somebody with a pencil that scored you did perfect, or did you really do it?
Oh,
So, I'm talking about fraudulent paperwork.
yeah. Well, obviously, if they're inspecting it twice a year and there never was a daycare, somebody should be
Somebody
criminally
is
prosecuted.
there should be a problem there. And I will say that I have had a close friend, he's dead now, okay, passed away, who talked about a state agency in which he was employed. And he said the law and the requirements were such that you could not keep the job without cheating. The requirements were so
And
intense that it was impossible to do them.
and if you
And if you complained, you're gone.
yeah. Well, and there's whistleblower protections like there were in Minnesota.
Yeah, right.
We got whistleblower protections. In fact, Tampon
And,
Tim keeps leaning on that. What can happen here? Because we got whistleblower protection.
You can build a perfect state on paper and have it a dystopia in reality.
Yeah. Something that came up. I didn't watch the tape on California with Nick Shirley all that intently. I saw bits and pieces of it, but there was a lady with him that had some documentation and stuff. And they looked in one of the places they went to, there were no kids. And she looked at her reports and says, "Oh yeah, the last 2 times the state inspectors have been here, they said there were no kids."
But what's good of an inspection if you don't do anything on it?
But if there's no kids, why are they still cutting checks? They're still cutting checks.
Because to stop cutting the checks would be racist.
Well, that's what's going on with Tim
Again,
Waltz.
sarcasm, got to put that out there.
Tim Waltz was testifying. He's been testifying a little bit in Congress, Congress is trying to figure out where we
Yeah, I
went
saw
wrong.
some of it.
And he's complaining profusely because he's been asked, why didn't you cut the funds off? Because of the children. You've cut off funds to us, and it's causing these children to go without eating. It's about the children. Of course, they always throw the children out there.
Well, this is right.
And
he may be sincere.
If he cared about children, he would have been inspecting those all along. Don't give me that crap.
Well,
and look, Trump cut it off until they send him paperwork to verification that these things exist and they're viable. So where's that paperwork? And are you working on it as hard as you are complaining about it?
Well, I'd say this might be an example of suicidal empathy.
Maybe.
Where we can't do what's right because of the kids.
Yeah.
If we tried to do it right, it would hurt the kids. So we can't. We have to do these wrong things because.
I mentioned. I think it was Spaceport I was talking about. No, it couldn't have been. It was. I think it was refinery. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a refinery that's going in Galveston or something. That.
There's a new one out in Texas somewhere.
That's what I mean. Yeah, down in Texas. Well, it's
and I think it's on the coast, so you're probably right.
It's going to be shovels in the ground like next month, so it's going to take 3 years to build. But the promoters of it kept saying that it's going to bring billions of dollars to the kids. The kids will get billions of dollars because a lot of it's going to go right to schools, and these school kids need this money. And they were talking about that more than they were the plant.
I think they understand public opinion.
Well, that's how we sold the lottery.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We got to sell the lottery to create gamblers so that the kids have better books.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was done.
Yeah.
But, I've heard the state lotteries described as a tax on IQ or something like that.
Yeah, it's a fool's retirement.
Tax on stupidity, I think. Maybe I shouldn't use that word.
Maybe it is a tax on stupidity.
Ignorance, maybe, a misunderstanding of how things work. But on the other hand, lotteries and gambling in general, if you're not addicted to them, is a form of recreation. So if you're paying for recreation, I don't have too much problem with it. But I've seen people who are addicted to gambling, and it's not pretty.
I've known families that were devastated.
Yes,
absolutely. Lost homes.
Absolutely.
In fact, I had a good friend that was working for me at when I owned Napa Auto Parts, and his wife was a addicted gambler,
Yeah.
and she she lost everything. She stopped paying on the house. She stopped doing all of that, and I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Right.
And
Everything they have
right,
eventually goes.
yeah,
And it's all based on the premise, well, if I just try a little more, I'll win it all back.
correct. It's terrible.
It's really bad.
I've never visited a home of a wealthy person that says, "Yeah, I won all this gambling." I've never visited that.
What happens is people who win the lottery tend to lose it all within 5 years.
Yeah, they go bankrupt. A lot of people that have won the lottery
Because
have lamented they wish they never did.
most of the people who win the lottery don't have any skill or experience in handling money.
Right. Your billionaires are not buying lottery tickets.
Oh, actually, there is a case.
They do.
There was a mathematician from, I think it was Czechoslovakia or Hungary or somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And he worked out the mathematics on the lottery and found that if you looked at the right point and bought all the tickets you could make money. And he became wealthy.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be an exception.
And they retired, and he's living quietly somewhere, but they've changed the rules, so you can't do it so easily now. But you had to get a huge number of, the idea is he hired agents and developed a plan and had all these agents go out, and when it opened up, they would immediately buy all the tickets they could at every place they could. And they won.
And when it reaches a certain level or
yeah, it has to be so the odds are in your favor.
Right.
You have to know. I'm not enough of a mathematician, and I have a little bit of talent for math to know what he did. But he was an exemplary mathematician, and he figured it out.
Yeah, but the odds of winning the big lottery is what, like 1 in 300 million?
Well, it all depends. You see, a lot of these, they keep increasing the value, but the tickets cost the same.
Yeah.
And so nobody wins on the first round, and then it keeps going.
But I don't
up.
have the money to buy 300 million.
Yeah, right. He had to
tickets.
get backers, and he had to make it all work, and he did. It was an incredible endeavor. I don't think it didn't add anything to the overall wealth of the earth.
He just wanted to do it.
Except, well, he made money at it. Except it's a tremendous. What's the word? I found it great entertainment to read that somebody had figured this out and done it.
Rebecca writes me this morning. She says she knows somebody who had to ban himself from entering the casino.
Oh, sure.
Can you go to the casino and say, ban me?
Yes. And people do that. And it's probably a smart thing for the people who know that they have a problem.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty common. I think that at some point, there was some sort of law or legislation done saying, if somebody asks to be banned, you have to do it.
So they have, like, take your picture and then it's in their system and
put your ID, you have
recognition
ID.
Or something. Yeah.
It's and then they now on the other side of this, if you have people that are consistent winners, they'll ban those too.
Yes, because they're lucky.
Well, or talented, or they've developed a system.
Card counters.
Yeah, card counters. I talked to somebody once who was part of a card counting syndicate. I think they had 10 or 20 people, and they did that so they could spread the risk, because they're going by the odds, and there's a small odds you'll lose everything. So you have to, spread the risk. If you got enough people, those odds go really down very, very far, he said that they would gamble, and they had to use disguises, and they had to go different places, and they'd gamble for 6 months out of the year and make enough to live on for the whole year. And that's what they did.
And they probably enjoyed it.
Oh, he did. I'm sure he did.
Yeah. But if you get caught.
Well, it wasn't, nothing they were doing was illegal.
No, but they'll be identified and banned.
They were. He said you had to be good at figuring out disguises and ways.
Right.
And you had to be careful how you did it, because they'd look for certain techniques and so on. And of course, the casinos are in the business of making money. That's why they're there. They're not there to give you money. They're there to make money for themselves. So I always try to look at these situations and say, which side of the equation do I want to be on? And my answer was, I'd rather be owner of a casino or
They'd
have
rather buy one.
stocks.
And
Yeah,
I think they do really well.
yeah, they do. Another group that does really well are insurance companies. I learned when I was about 18 that if you put your money in insurance company stock instead of buying insurance, you end up with about 3 to 4 times as much money at the end of 20 years.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying people shouldn't have insurance. I did buy insurance, but I got very select insurance for very particular purposes.
Pittsburgh police is accused of ignoring ICE agents struggle with suspect. And ICE agents recently, we had news on it nightly every night.
Right.
There was all these protests and things and ICE agents. And of course, we had 2 people that died in the ICE agents
in
scuffles.
Minneapolis.
And I think both of them have been exonerated, the ICE agents.
Well, yes. I mean,
I mean,
everything.
as far as acting properly,
it was
it's
pretty much
unfortunate.
all on video from numerous angles.
Exactly what happened. Oh gosh, there was video everywhere.
Yeah.
The protesters had videos. A lot of the ICE officers had videos.
Yeah, I wrote a couple articles about one of those.
Right. But ICE officers didn't have cameras. They were using their own cell phones
Oh,
to take this.
aren't they now supposed to have
Yeah,
body cams?
it's changed now. Now they're
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats said, we will not fund stuff unless they have body cameras.
okay, we'll put them in.
Okay, that's
Now we
good.
got it.
Yeah.
Of course, they're still
Done deal.
They're still in a government shutdown because they want additional restrictions on ICE. Like one is you can't wear a mask so we can dox you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
That's so ridiculous.
Well, I have to say I don't like the idea of enforcement officers wearing masks, but I understand why it's important in these cases because we have organized masses of people who want to dox these officers and make their lives miserable so they can't do their job.
There's a lot of police activity that is done that they wear masks.
More and more because of what we're talking about.
Doxing and stuff. Yeah. And but the Congress, I mean the Democrats anyway, they're saying they're okay to wear masks just to ICE officers.
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous. And they're shutting the country down for it. But but when I get a story here where a Pittsburgh officer is accused of ignoring it, I'm not.
That's interesting. It makes you want
It is interesting because most of the stories I've read were just how terrible ICE is and ICE is bad and ICE is doing terrible things. And now they're saying that this police officer did a terrible thing by ignoring the agent that was struggling.
Well,
again,
now
changed.
You've studied the law a little bit, I think, and police officers do not have a duty to help you. So they can walk away.
Yes.
There's no legal requirement for them to offer aid.
I think civilly, though, there would be a problem.
There have been a lot of court cases on it.
Okay.
And the Supreme Court has ruled that they don't have a legal duty unless there's special circumstances. Like they said they would be there and then they're not.
You mean like if you call 911, they say, police are on the way, they get there, look at you and say, I'm not helping you?
There was a famous case in Washington, D.C., where a couple of women were being raped in an apartment. And they called the police. They got a hold of the phone somehow. And they said, please help us. We're here. And the police came. They didn't see anything from outside. And they left. And they sued them. And the court said, there's no duty. There's no duty. They don't have to help you.
That's weird.
No, look it up. I can find the reference for you.
Oh, no, I believe you. I'm just saying that's odd.
There are cases like that all over the country.
Well,
it's
in this case.
And it kind of makes sense. Because the police cannot be everywhere.
No, they can't be.
Go ahead.
But if they heard screaming or something and had reasonable suspicion there was a problem, I can't imagine.
They're not required. They often do, and mostly they do, but they're not legally required to do so.
The police chief, Jason Lando, with the Pittsburgh Police, says he's not aware of any ordering or directing officers not to act, and he launched an investigation right away.
Okay.
So even though they're a sanctuary and Pittsburgh sanctuary, he said to that end, I was recently made aware of an incident that occurred in front of Zone 3 police station where ICE agents were struggling to take somebody into custody. as ICE agents attempted to detain a suspect near Zone 3, and it was the individual was fighting and kicking ICE agents. And according to a radio host, Dunlap, a, a Pittsburgh police officer told him police had been instructed to stand down during the confrontation.
Yeah.
And it's been alleged by some individuals that Pittsburgh police officers were ordered not to intervene and were forced to stand by and watch. While our officers did not intervene in this particular situation, I'm not aware of any order given that forbid them from doing so.
Yeah.
The agent had stopped a vehicle near the police station, like right in
Right.
front of the police station, and that turned into a battle somehow, a
Right.
physical altercation.
Right.
And he says, our job is not and has never been to conduct immigration enforcement. We do not collaborate with ICE. We do not check immigration status on calls for service. We do not participate in roundups. Officers are still required to respond to emergency calls for assistance, including from other law enforcement agencies, but are instructed to assist only in securing the scene before returning to service.
So did they get a call?
I don't know.
And was the visual evidence enough?
I don't.
See, that's the problem there. And it's obvious that they have a policy of not cooperating with ICE. And I could see how officers on the scene might interpret that as that we will not help ICE arrest people.
Yeah. Well, and I would think that in a city where the police chief says, well, if we see crimes that we don't want to get involved, we won't do it, I think we'd find a new police chief.
Look at the prosecutors all over the country that are not prosecuting crimes, and they get reelected.
They do get reelected.
And often they get unelected too. We saw that in LA and San Francisco recently.
The Pittsburgh mayor, Corey O'Connor, said the city will continue its policy of not assisting ICE operations. Pittsburgh aims to remain a welcoming city for immigrants. These guys, I mean, they're losing it. I mean, losing money, losing taxpayers, losing.
Yes, they are. I mean, to me, it seems
they're taking
kind of like the run up to the Civil War, you know.
Better care of the illegal immigrants than they do the citizens that are paying the taxes.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they see, well, what we might call as middle class taxpayers as their constituents, particularly.
That's interesting. Probably. I mean, they're not going to be.
Well, in California,
they're not going to interact as much with those.
In California is bifurcating into the poor and the ultra rich. The middle class is fleeing.
Pretty much. Well, so a lot of the ultra rich now because
when you claim you're going to take 5% of their total wealth every year, I mean, or at least you're threatening that as a possibility.
Well, it's on the ballot to be passed in November, and I can't imagine it not passing in California.
Yeah, I can't either, because you have this vast number of people that are not doing real well,
right?
And you're telling them, do you want to take some money from those tiny number of billionaires?
The rich guys that can afford it, they don't need 10 billion. They could give us one of the billions.
Exactly. How does that not pass? I mean, it's like, and it's appealing to the worst.
But that's why we don't have a true democracy.
Exactly.
Because if there were,
because
three wolves and one sheep voting on what's for lunch.
What's for lunch?
The
sheep loses, right?
Every time.
Yeah, exactly. And but it's part of this thing we were talking about where on the left, they view wealth as a fixed thing. It just exists.
Correct.
And so.
And it's finite.
It's finite. It's a particular pie. And if somebody has a big slice of pie, that means I didn't get any.
They took too much of my pie.
When in reality, and it's a fairly new thing, only a few hundred years old now, we are creating wealth faster than we're creating people. And we can do it because of talented people who make it happen. And if you stop those talented people from doing it, you don't get as much wealth and everybody's poor.
I don't think they got that memo.
No, it's an important change in the way we look at economics. And really, I think, 200 years, when did The Wealth of Nations get published? 1770 some, right about the same time as the American Revolution, as I recall.
And then, do they even teach that in school?
No, I don't think. Well, when I was growing up, we had a little bit of exposure to it, but I think
It's
mostly
kind of
what
an advanced. It's kind of a college.
it is, and I recall, like the civics, the guy who taught what was it? I don't think it was called civics in high school, something like government or history or something like that. And he was outright socialist, and his arguments didn't make sense to me. But it took me a while, since I was only maybe 15 at the time, to figure out what he was saying that was not rational.
Okay. Like it didn't sound right, but you didn't
It
really.
just like that doesn't make any sense. And then and it was an argument by authority. Well, everybody knows,
Of course.
and I don't know that.
Yeah, but you want to join the everybody group.
Well, that's it's I forget if that's an argument to authority or an argument to something else. How argument to popularity? Maybe that might be a false
And
logic thing.
and this redistribution of wealth program that the left is working on, which is part of that socialism. Johnny Cash Penney, and I remember reading about him, and he's J.C. Penney, the same store owner.
Okay.
That when he was rich and famous in the 20s, he wrote that, look, you can take all my money, spread it out to the population, and leave me my business people, my good people, and everything. I'll get it all back.
Yeah, and he's right.
And he was right, because he went broke in the Depression.
Yeah.
And he got it all back.
And there's this, I forget if it's a 20% or 10% rule. It's something like 10 or 20% of the population will control 80 or 90% of the wealth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
But they create it.
Well, they create it or they control it. In the Soviet Union, they didn't create much.
Yeah.
They controlled it.
Yeah.
And in former times, when people mostly got wealthy by controlling other people, they controlled it. But in the U.S. and in a few other places, we developed a system where we would reward people with vast wealth if they made stuff other people wanted, if they produced things that were better for society.
Right.
And that's the genius of the system and why we're so wealthy today.
Yeah. And
we are wealthy. We're in a golden age. It's amazing.
We still are. We definitely
in spite of some of the stupid things we've done. But I see that maybe the hand of divine providence and Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, the argument used to be out there with all the socialists and Democrats and everything that, well, wealth is just passed on from generation to generation, and we don't have any chances because we're poor and all that stuff. But when you study that and you take a look at it, it's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
In America, it's a lie anyway.
Yeah, that wealth is always, most of the wealth is always new money.
Yes.
Like Elon Musk or
Right.
Bill Gates.
Yes, exactly correct. And even in England, where they had laws to try to keep wealth concentrated, only the first son could inherit, for example.
Yeah.
So you didn't divide an estate up amongst several children. And so then you had these hungry aristocrats come to America and make their own money.
And it's quite common that parents do very well. They pass the money on to the kids, they blow it.
Well, it usually takes 3 generations.
Yeah.
We'd say the first
Eventually.
generation makes the money, the second generation keeps the money, and third generation spends the money.
Yeah, like Prince Andrew.
Look at the Kennedys. That's what's happening there.
Yeah. They're not all wealth makers.
No. I mean, if you work hard at it, it takes a lot of work to keep wealth, because there's a whole lot of people who want to take it from you.
Well, it's expensive to keep wealth.
Well,
But like if you have houses, property, airplanes,
well, you have to
assets.
maintain it, and there are always a huge number of grifters who want to figure out a way to get your wealth from you, and of course, then there's governments who want to take it from you,
right?
And that's
like California.
Even if it's just stock in the stock market, if you don't watch what's going on, you can end up losing money. Now, we have developed systems in the United States where you can have like index funds.
Right.
And it's very hard to lose a huge amount of money in an index fund, but you have to be willing to hold it long enough to overcome the dips.
Yeah. But it's not a guarantee you get to keep it, because so many of the third generation or whatever will, well, I'm going to buy an airplane. I'm going to have parties for my kids.
Or somebody made a great amount of money building a railroad, and then the government regulated it, and now they get 3%.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you don't need all that money. Speaking of money and managing money, I did a story the other day about a baseball player that got a 20, I think it was a 20, 30 million, $40 million contract or something.
yeah, I think I heard about this.
Going into California, playing for a California team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he turned it down because the taxes would be so high in California, it wouldn't be worthwhile. So he stayed with the Arizona Diamondbacks or came back to
And
Arizona.
I heard of a situation, and I'm trying to remember it, but I think California has a law that if you play in California, they consider the income earned in California and they tax it.
I heard that. I don't know how that works.
Well, I could believe it.
Because it's not where you live.
But most states tax income if you earn the income in the state. And they're saying you earned it in the state.
Well, I think then that the teams need to play in states that don't do that.
Yeah, I would agree. That would make some sense.
Well,
I don't know that it's, that would be a lot of disruption because there's a lot of big teams in places like California.
Well, there's also big teams in Washington State. The Seahawks.
Yeah,
they're very successful. Well, they're worried right now. The general manager John Schneider's worried about the future of the Seahawks because the state of Washington just are getting ready to pass. They've got a proposal.
Yeah,
that they're going to put a 9.9% state income tax on high earners.
Yeah,
high earners mean anybody that makes more than $1 million.
Yeah.
So of course that's a popular thing. Everyone says, yeah, because there's a huge percentage of people who don't make that much.
Right.
So they say, well, yeah, take their money. They don't need that much.
Where's my cut?
I get a cut of their money.
Yeah.
And apparently the minimum wage after 1 year in the NFL is $1 million. So everybody that is a player.
Everybody who's a player gets to pay 10%.
So they're upset about it. They in fact, he says, the Democrats will make it much harder for him to sign new players. He said, and this was during a radio interview. He said, all the pro teams here in town, it's always been a huge attraction, especially competing with the California teams. It's been a big deal for us. And he's referring to the California high state income tax, competing for free agents and competing for players.
Yeah.
They've done very well. And Seattle's had winning teams because of it.
Sure.
Because they can attract these.
The taxes weren't as high.
So yeah, you're going to sting from a recruiting standpoint. Some players, agents.
Now, I'm trying to remember. Maybe you can refresh my memory.
What's that?
Was it part of the big beautiful bill that state income taxes would no longer be deductible on your federal taxes?
It was before that. And what it did is it changed the cap.
Yeah.
On how much you can deduct.
So how much was it?
I don't remember.
I'm thinking it was maybe like 50 or 100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, but there's always been there's been a lot of pressure from the Democrats to change that. Like, you're killing California because we charge so much in taxes, and we always told them, well, you could deduct it from your federal taxes, so you'll save.
It was sort of a federal subsidy on high state taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you made the same money in Texas that you made in California charged a lot more of that, but
you got to
pay less federal tax than the Texas guy did.
Right. And it's not a complete offset, but it's somewhat of an offset.
No, you're right. It's somewhat of an offset.
So now these states, having burned through all the money they can get that way, are now saying, we have to have more taxes some other way.
Well, they're all, you notice all those states that have done that are financially in trouble.
Right.
Because they just don't know, there's no limit to their spending.
Well, unfortunately, we see the same thing with the federal government too, but the federal government can print money.
And some players' agents have already texted him to say, hey, can't use that anymore, buddy.
Well, there's a simple solution for the people in Washington State, who these teams, just pay the players 11% more and they end up even.
Oh, great. Well, then you run into salary caps.
Yeah, right. Okay, but I mean, you see,
salary caps are
the
all
salary caps would not do it right.
Yeah, maybe they could say, well, we need a higher salary tax cap because of our taxes.
Yeah, maybe so. They could make that argument. That sounds like a pretty good argument to me.
Governor Bob Ferguson there in Washington State, He's a Democrat. He's already pledged it. As soon as it hits his desk, I'm signing that proposal.
Yeah. And there are, I've been reading, there are a lot of people in the Second Amendment community, because Washington State also is passing some draconian gun laws. And so there are people leaving for that reason too.
I think they should just be called the Idaho Seahawks and move it.
Yeah, that might happen.
Oh gosh, yes, it could. It could happen. It's going to affect the team. It's going to affect the players.
Of course it is. I mean, I don't think I was born with the sports gene, but because my enthusiasm is more to watch politics. I think politics is every bit as engrossing and interesting as professional sports, and it directly affects your life.
Right.
So that's where I spend
They're
more
both
energy.
contact.
Yeah, right. There's serious stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, a lot of their lives are seriously wrapped up in the teams they support.
Oh, they do. Oh man, I've lived in a lot of different places, just across the nation, but in Colorado, they were huge college. I mean, it was a religion almost.
Same
in Florida.
Oh, you see it in Texas too.
Yeah, it's big deal, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, and that's it, and Rush Limbaugh used to say that it was because something that it was not political, so they could get away from the controversy and everything. And now, in my opinion, the left has made it all political.
Well, for the NFL anyway.
Yeah.
I think college is a little more pure still, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, people follow the college sports like crazy.
Oh, yeah, they do.
It's really,
I mean, and I can't say that I really do much of it, but occasionally when I hear Texas A&M is doing well or another, I'll think highly of it because my daughter's an Aggie. So,
billionaire Howard Schultz lives in Washington. He's just announced he's moving from that because of this.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you tell somebody you're going to take 10% or whatever of their wealth, they would, and they have a lot of means. They don't need to stick around. For them, moving is not a huge problem because they have staff.
Well, not only that, they probably have 10, 15 houses in the United States.
Right. And so they just need to change their legal residence.
That's all.
And in the United States, you can make your legal residence wherever you want.
Right. There's probably some criteria about receiving mail there.
Well,
or
in
showing up
terms of taxation, it's things like, did you get your driver's license there?
Right.
That type of thing. But it isn't. There's no requirement you have to live in that house for so many days a year.
I know people that are living on the road a lot, retirees.
Oh, yeah, right. I know some of them.
And they make their residence in Texas or something and register their vehicle there, like their motorhome there.
Yeah, or sometimes they register in North Dakota or something.
Right, because
it's more convenient.
Very favorable.
Right.
For taxes and insurance and everything else. It starts becoming very favorable.
And
people do that with airplanes all the time.
Sure.
They put the airplane in a state.
And I don't have a problem with that. I think you should be free to pick the state of your residence, and you should be free to travel. That's part of what being American is. And if people leave a state because it's become burdensome, well, change the laws in the state. Don't be so burdensome.
All right, we're going to talk about Carg Island.
Yeah, well, that's I've been reading about that quite a bit.
I have too, and I guess I've been really surprised and shocked about the complexities and how the challenges for the United States military in order to open up this strait and to really knock out the Iranian
the Iranian
abilities
to close
ability
strait,
and their ability to create military problems all over.
Right.
But I didn't know Carg Island, and I didn't really understand anything about it. I didn't study. President Trump did. In fact, 20 years ago, he was saying it. Those clips are coming out.
I was reading, I think Newt Gingrich had talked about it probably 10 years ago at least.
Carg Island.
Yeah, right. He said, if the Iranians act up, we should just blast Carg Island.
Well,
and it'll shut them down.
the,
And
the Ukrainians have made a game out of closing that Strait of
you're
Hormuz.
talking about Iranians.
Iranians.
I heard Ukrainians.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did say Ukrainians.
They do sound similar.
Iranians. Yeah, they're both trouble right now too. Iranians, they've been using this leverage forever to bully the world.
Yes, exactly right.
Because the world's oil goes through that Karg Island, or
20% of it.
Big chunk of it. 90% of China is probably.
Yeah, probably.
You know, some countries even more than others. Us, not as much. I think it's 20% for us. But in order to close that strait, it's 20 miles or so.
Right.
It's, you know, I would think, well, 20 miles, can't they do something? Well, no. There's some islands near that entrance that they've heavily fortified, that they've put that deep into concrete and everything, and they have troops on those islands. So if you're firing at a ship from close range, your defenses are very,
I wouldn't want to be one of those troops.
Very sketchy. So they're so close that defending it becomes a problem. Is when a ship is, you know, 100 miles away and a missile's coming in, they got time to react.
Right.
They're coming so fast, though, otherwise that they may not react as fast.
But their fixed defenses have a problem. We know where they are.
Yes. And I thought that would be easy. Well, not necessarily. Apparently, because we haven't been able to take everything out as it is. We have to know exactly where it is for the bunker busters to go get them and all that kind of stuff. So they've got to shut down to open it up. They've got to shut down any possibility the ship gets hit, because if one ship gets hit, the whole thing goes south because the insurance companies won't cover them. The boats won't go through.
Well, I read some things, and maybe have too, that President Trump had said, or somebody in the administration, because I'm not sure it was President Trump, that the U.S. was going to set up their own insurance fund.
I did hear something that briefly, but I haven't seen that transpire at this point.
Yeah, I haven't at this point, but
of course that's not.
But the Iranian, what we found is that the Iranian has been
bullying,
kind of a paper tiger. Maybe that's not the way to put it. It's that our weapons are so superior to the Iranians that they appear to be a paper tiger.
But we haven't made the threat zero.
No, correct. But we will.
I think so. Well, in order to get this Karg Island, from what I understand, of course, the plans have not been spelled out, but many people that are involved in that type of industry have talked about this Karg Island on taking it. And we know that there's a Marine contingency that's coming right now. It just went through the Straits of Singapore. Although, and I didn't realize you can go on the internet and find every plane in the world and every boat in the world as it's flying.
Well, the ones that have transponders, you can.
Right.
And then there's satellite imagery. So there are different ways to track.
Well, apparently this USS Tripoli, which is one of the
Marine transports.
It's an amphibious ship.
Oh,
but it's
an assault ship. Okay.
But it also it can carry aircraft on it. Like it has F-35s on it. It's an amphibious assault ship, and it's got like 2,500 Marines. But I'm sure there's more than that traveling. It doesn't have its transponders on, and I read one of the reports that says, but we've had some visual contact with it in the Singapore Straits, and it's
that's a narrow passageway, so
it's motoring.
Hard to hide.
Yeah, because it came out of Japan. And it's motoring there, and speculation is that it is going to occupy Karg Island. Not the ship so much as the Marines will probably be airlifted.
Well, yeah, I think who was it? There was some senator was spouting off about this recently, suggesting that's a possibility, and it may be. It may happen that way, and a lot of people think it might. But if there's one thing I've learned about President Trump, is he's a master of military strategy.
Yeah.
And you do something with your right hand and the left hand smacks you unexpectedly.
Well, there's a potential of more targets because there's like 3 islands there that are militarized.
Yeah.
That if they took those over and militarized them ourselves, we would have a better luck of protecting ships.
Sure. Now probably those islands are not being resupplied because we've sunk the Navy.
Right.
And anything that's Iranian that we see gets sunk.
Sink it. Yeah. So
the
people are hungry.
Well, we don't know. They might have 2 or 3 years supply of food there. I
they
don't know.
might. I didn't think about that.
I mean, and they probably have water desalination plants so that they have a way to get fresh water.
You know,
I would, if I were the Iranians, I'd build all that in because I'd know that they might have to withstand a siege of some kind.
Clark Island has like 8,500 residents.
Wow, that's a lot of residents for the. Well, not really. It's what 2 by 4 miles or something like
Yeah.
that. So so if you have 8 square miles, that's not that many people.
A lot of them are going to be, working
Right, exactly.
in the company business, which would be loading ships and doing stuff
Right,
like that, and
right.
all the oil stuff and all that. But it's been such a problem, this Iranian thing for the last 47 years. Saudi Arabia, which also ships oil
Yeah, they built a pipeline.
across the entire nation.
Yeah, across the whole Arabian Peninsula there.
But then they still have to contend with the Suez Canal, which has been problems over the years,
Right.
or the Houthis at the other end. They got 2 exits.
Yeah, the Houthis been fairly quiet lately.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they got kind of spanked.
Well, that's right. I mean, I see this as sort of a return to gunboat diplomacy. The Europeans had such a huge advantage in weaponry in the middle 1800s, late 1800s, that there'd be some kingdom or whatever, and they'd have a coastal city, and they weren't doing what the European, whoever, I'll just say French or Portuguese or whatever, English, and so they'd send a gunboat, a warship. I'll do what we want. No. Okay, we'll shell the city. And eventually the king or whoever was in charge say, okay, I'll
Whatever
do what
you
you
want.
want because you're destroying my kingdom.
Right. Of course, now we've got so much better accuracy.
Yeah, and much further distances. But for a while there, we were kind of uncertain. And I think it was this perception in the US we can't use power for our national interest because that's the way we want it to be, which is weird. And we had the Soviet Union and we had the nuclear Cold War. And so
But the gloves are off now.
Right.
They're going nuts right now. And I guess the bombings are going on every day.
I expect so, yes.
This Karg Island, though, the island handles about 90% of Iran's oil.
Go through that outlet,
through
right?
And of course, others go through it too when it's available.
Yeah,
but I can't. I saw a list of how much the Suez Canal has been closed in the past, and times it's been closed for years.
Right.
The Houthis area, that's a close area that can get closed. The Karg Islands has a history of Iran getting mad and saying nobody's going, nobody's moving.
Yeah, you're talking about the Straits of Hormuz.
Strait of Hormuz, yeah. So I guess it's gone on long enough that they've built all these pipelines to try to avoid it, including the United Arab Emirates.
Emirates, right. And
they built a 150-mile pipeline to get to the other side of it.
Right. And so what do we see? I just saw a video of huge black clouds of smoke rising from the United Arab Emirates where the Iranian missiles had struck 1 or 2 of their refineries.
Oh. That must be real recent. I didn't know that.
Just last couple of days.
Okay.
And
they're friends.
Well, they've tried to walk a fine line. We're friends with everybody,
right?
And it's hard, and they don't have much of a military, and so I guess the Iranians figured, well, they're an easy target. We'll punish them. We can't punish the United States, so we'll punish the UAE.
Well, from what I've heard, the Iranians have been in the business of punishing the world, and then everyone backs off.
That's what's been happening. And finally, President Trump, I say to his credit, said, we've got a regime that's been at war with us for 47 years. It's time we fought back.
Yeah. And I think they're doing that in a devastating way that's gonna be shocking.
I think so. I think so. And people say, oh, bombing can never win a war. Well, look back to when we had gunboat diplomacy. It worked a lot. Yeah. It wasn't aerial bombing at the time, but essentially the same concept.
Right. It was as remarkably devastating, and they had no counter.
Right. That's the big thing. No counter.
Yeah.
And mostly where aerial bombardment has not worked, it's because the people were organized and they had ways to fight back.
Yeah. They don't have any way to fight back right now. Their Navy's gone. their planes are gone.
Yeah, and their military is being not the ordinary army, because that's probably not as politically reliable, but the IRGC. I'm trying to basically the Iranian
They're a guard or something called themselves,
political
Revolutionary
core,
Guard.
Revolutionary Guards. That's it. They are hardliners and mostly fundamentalist Muslim, and they will probably fight until a very large number of them are dead.
Of course, they can't harm the United States in essence, the mainland. I mean, we've got bases over there they've tried to attack, and we've had 13 deaths, so far.
I mean, this is what we're trying to prevent.
Right.
I mean, they don't have the capability right now, but they were getting close. Once they could get a nuclear weapon,
they could,
and they supposedly have enough uranium to make about 11 or a dozen.
That's what I hear.
It's not that hard to put a bomb in a ship and detonate it a mile off of San Francisco or Los Angeles.
Right. But there's been many politicians, mostly the left, that have said Iran has no threat to us. Iran, they don't have any capability to threat to us. They're way over there. They're in the Middle East. Why are we over here? We shouldn't be doing this. They just have been chanting death to America for 47 years. It's all political show. They don't really mean it. I know. And they've been punishing the whole world if they don't get what they want from us. So the politicians over here are saying, just let them have it. Just let them have it. It's like a spoiled child. Let them have it.
It's a sort of a long-term slow appeasement policy like Neville Chamberlain, only over a longer period.
But it got dangerous because the aspirations,
very dangerous.
The aspirations were long-range missiles. Aspirations are nuclear. The aspirations are to be a superpower.
The Iranians have not been shy about saying what they're trying to do.
Right. So the Karg Island thing is the next thing. It's going to be a week or at least before that a naval ship gets there too, and maybe that's a distraction.
It could be. I wonder, because war is based on deception. And so everybody's looking at these 2,500 Marines. And I remember back in one of the Gulf Wars when we had all these Marines off the coast, and everybody expected a invasion over coastline, a coastal invasion, and that was a distraction. It never happened.
During this conflict, I saw something on YouTube, a special that went through the moments of one of our naval ships being attacked, which has happened.
Right.
None's been injured so far. None's been damaged, but that doesn't mean they don't fire weapons at you.
The ships, yeah. We've had a few.
This was a missile destroyer, one of the Alec Burke
Okay.
missile destroyers. Apparently separated itself from the carrier group, which is odd.
Well, there's probably some reason.
There was, and when it was detected they were separated from the carrier group, Iran released 150 speedboats and 30 drones.
Did any of them survive?
No, but Ali Burke destroyer doesn't have the capability to take them all on.
Okay.
But unbeknownst to Iran, there were some B-1 bombers flying overhead. And they released hundreds of drones that were pre-programmed to sort out and take out all the boats.
It's just amazing. It shows the capabilities that are there. I mean,
but they did it with a B-1 bomber.
Yeah. I would not want to be anybody opposing us. It's pretty scary what their capabilities are. I mean, we have overwhelming power.
Yeah, it destroyed every boat, all 150. There was they said about 2,200 Iranians that were manning it. They don't know the survivors. They know there were survivors. They know there were some people that were
some few might get lucky
survivors out of that. But those drones took them out. The Ali Burke, I think, took out the drones with their Aegis or whatever. With their own.
We have some ships that I think have laser defenses now.
Yeah,
I don't know if the Burke has any.
I don't know, but apparently they speculate that the Iranians' tactic was to just flood them with more than they can hit.
In let's see, I think it's second Gulf War, we had a sandstorm and a column of M1 tanks, an armored column, not just tanks, there were others, were going through it. And the Republican Guard or whatever they were, I'm not 100% sure what units they were, thought, and I thought very logically, they're vulnerable. They can't see us in this sandstorm. Their sensors can't detect us. So we will attack. And they attacked, I think, from two sides at the same time in the middle of the sandstorm, and they were wiped out. They were wiped out. We just killed them all. Or there probably were a few survivors.
Yeah.
And it made sense that if you were going to attack, that was the time to do it. But our weaponry was so good, our sensors were so good.
The sandstorm didn't stop it. Didn't blind you.
It didn't blind them, and they were just wiped out. And this is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the technological capability so outclasses the other side. It's like the Zulu tribesmen, attacking Rorick's Drift.
Yeah.
And the people at Rorick's Drift had enough savvy and firepower, they killed them.
I enjoy watching it all, as gruesome as some of it is, because I get to learn what kind of equipment we really have. I mean, this.
I have mixed feelings. I don't like to see a lot of people killed, but frankly, sometimes people need to be killed.
Yeah, they're not going to back off.
No,
they're not.
And if you have people that want to kill you and they're willing to exert all their effort and most of their money into killing you, you need to stop them.
But I never would have thought the B-1 bomber would be used in that manner. I mean, we think of them as heavy bombers, and they carry more payload than a B-52.
I'd been speculating about this kind of thing, but I was doing it more with the idea of missiles, that you could have a missile or a space-launched object go at a point you wanted to attack and then release a whole bunch of drones just before they got there.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of similar concept, but I hadn't specifically thought about the B-1.
Came right out of the belly of a B-1. So it probably was no mistake that
well, it looks like a tactic to me.
Yeah, like it sent them out there as bait.
Can we draw them out so that we can take care of them all at once?
Yeah. It looks like it. And the B-1 was high enough. They can't see it. They have no radars anyway right now.
Right. I think Z in China, if I'm pronouncing it or mispronouncing, is having very serious thoughts about
Taiwan.
Is there, are all my dreams going up in smoke? Look at what they can do.
Yeah. And China has been building military rapid pace.
Yeah.
Ships and capabilities and planes that look exactly like ours to the dimensions and everything.
They've stolen a lot of tech.
Yeah, they have. Well, they've stolen plans. My understanding from what I'm reading, they really don't have the same tech we have. They may have the plane that looks the same.
Yeah, I think that's true. And remember, so much of tech now is software.
Yeah.
And software changes rapidly and all the time. But of course, if you can get access to it, you can steal it. I mean, it's not like it has a lot of mass that you have to throw a tank onto a submarine and get it back to China. You probably just send it over the internet in a disguised file or something, or have a little SD chip that somebody can put inside their mouth if they want to, or you can't possibly check everybody's luggage for something that tiny.
Some of it's more than tech, like the F-22 is stealth, and they can make a plane look like the F-22 or the F-35.
But does it have the proper coating on the wings that absorbs radar or whatever?
And it doesn't have the proper engines.
Yeah.
They just don't have the engines that we do that are putting out little heat, because that heat's detected as much as anything.
Here's another thought about the Iranian war that I think is extremely important. Not many people are talking about it. Starlink.
Yeah.
Because Elon Musk has created a system where if people get a little bit of equipment, they have access to communicate with the rest of the world.
Yep.
And a large part of any government's ability to control its people is its ability to control the flow of information. And I think Iran just lost that during the last couple of weeks.
Yes. And my understanding is there are probably some people that have Starlink in Iran, but if they get caught by the government, it's not going to go well.
Well, that's right. And this is why, when the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, hopefully I got that right, if they're setting up checkpoints and talking about people, the Israelis are blowing them to smithereens.
Retired General Jack Keane, which I like, he's on Fox News quite a bit. He said the U.S. could take Iran's main oil export hub if it chooses to do so, but so far is choosing not to take it right now.
Right. And it's a bargaining chip.
But what are they waiting? I mean, they wanted this thing to come to an end quickly, and now's not the right time for whatever reason.
Here's the way I would look at it. To be worth anything, that island needs to remain intact as a way to transport oil.
Correct.
If it's destroyed, it's no longer a bargaining chip. If you put Marines there to control it, they control it, and it's a pretty good bargaining chip that way. And it's hard for the Iranians to destroy it because so much of their weaponry has already been degraded.
Right.
But if you don't put Marine boots on the ground and keep it, it's still a bargaining chip because you could do that anytime you wanted to. We could destroy that as a functioning vehicle anytime we wanted to. I mean, Trump has stated that.
Well, they bombed the military installations already.
Exactly.
But they've got to be careful not. I don't think they want to bomb the ability to transport oil. The idea is to get
it's
oil
a one-time thing. But you don't want to set it up so that the Iranians feel that they are going to bomb it to keep it from us.
Oh, well, that's what an invasion may do, though.
Well,
it may be already set up for that.
It's so obvious and so clear cut. It looks like a trap to me.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why the other islands look more
possible.
There's like 3 other islands that are very key.
Or do you take, the shorelines that close to the Strait of Hormuz too? I mean, there's many possibilities here. And I believe that President Trump has the best military minds in the world.
Well, they've been
working on the way to do this in the best way possible.
Well, the thing about the island, they can't sneak up on you if you're on an island.
Right.
They have to come by a ship or something, and that's going to be detected. You'd never make it.
Well, you said they have about 8,500 people there.
On Karg, yeah.
On Karg. And most of them are they would not.
That would be civilians,
but they wouldn't put unreliable people. It's possible most of them make AK-47s. I don't know.
Oh, no.
But maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have much in the way of weaponry for individuals there. It's possible. I would say it wouldn't be too hard to put 150 special forces people from going underwater to sneak up on the island.
Yeah. The only hesitant would be, do they have it rigged to blow up if they sense an invasion?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, so you could just leave them alone, Star Mountain, because we don't really need to take
it's a carrot. It's dangled right in front of somebody who can take control of the Iranian government and say, you're going to give me $20 billion a year for oil. All I have to do is send it through this pipeline.
Yeah. Well, if you could leave them alone and just take the other islands, and they can't move it.
Exactly. They cannot. That island has been shown to be, Karg has been shown to be completely vulnerable. We can stop it anytime we want.
But they don't want to hurt the equipment. They don't want to.
Well, they'd prefer to keep the oil flowing.
Right.
And it's a great carrot for somebody in Iran to say, I could be really popular with all that money. I could fix the irrigation system we've let go. I could feed the people of Iran.
Well, that's what's happening in Venezuela right now.
Right, exactly.
They hate us. They're Marxists, but they're playing the game now and reaping benefits.
Yeah, exactly. And it may happen in Cuba.
I don't trust any of them, but.
Well, right.
But as long as you've got that hammer hanging.
Well, that's it. People say we shouldn't be doing this. And I'm saying, well, they've been wanting to kill us for 47 years. I think it's time.
Well, because they start every meeting like that.
Yeah, right. It's not like they hide the idea.
It's death to America.
And it's not like this is the first time this sort of thing has happened. I mean, the first wars we got into once we became a country was not the War of 1812. It was the Barbary Wars. Right. The Barbary pirates. Those were Muslim pirates. Thomas Jefferson, I think it was. No, who? Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, I think it was Jefferson. Was in London, and he talked to one of the emissaries from one of those Barbary states, and they said, "We haven't done anything to you. Why are you attacking our chips? Why are you enslaving our people? We didn't do anything to you. Allah says it's our duty to do this, and we have full right for anybody who's not a Muslim to take them and enslave them. So pay us tribute, and we won't do it." And that's where, we got the Barbary Wars and sent people there and forced them not to do that anymore.
And it was a good move.
It was, but it took a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, Marines made a song about it.
Yeah.
It was salt deduction that we were talking about earlier, where you get to deduct the federal tax.
Okay.
State and local taxes.
State and local taxes.
Yeah,
Salt,
you get to from your feds. And they said the tax bill was a Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. I knew it was a while ago. And it didn't fully eliminate the deduction for state and local taxes, but it capped the SALT deduction for individuals, which is why many people describe it as having ended the write-off. One important update, that cap was later changed. The IRS says the SALT deduction limit is now $40,000 from 2025, increased from the earlier $10,000. It was a $10,000
Yeah, because they
cap.
changed they increased the cap to 40 from 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
To make peace with California.
Well, and New York and Illinois and other places that are very high tax states.
Yeah.
But what happens is it doesn't make peace with the very wealthy. The very wealthy, the people who are paying more than $40,000, and you don't have to be that wealthy to pay $40,000 in taxes.
Oh, and I remember we were talking about the lottery before. And I forgot what Edward had told me before, but he reiterated it.
Okay.
Because I have a memory that's not.
Yeah.
I have a great memory. It just doesn't last long.
My memory is terrible.
It says lottery is a tax on people who can't do math.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take it. That's a good description.
That is a good description.
Or people who don't understand odds. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know who Joe Kent is?
Yes.
The National Counterterrorism Director.
I read about him. I've looked. I was interested, and I started looking him up. He's a very impressive guy. He's in special forces for a long time.
Yeah, Trump hired him.
Worked for the CIA. Ran for Congress twice. But the more I looked, the more I didn't think this was really
about him being a white nationalist or something.
No, but when his first wife was killed in Syria in 2019. He is supposed to have said something to the effect of, the Israelis started that war, and they're who killed my wife.
Okay.
That, to me, says there's some serious anti-Semitism going on.
Well, he just resigned because he does not like the invasion of Iran. He thinks it's wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe that's the reason, but there have been a lot of stuff being floated out there for other reasons.
Well, here's what he put on social media himself. He wrote it. He says, "I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran poses no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to the pressure from Israel and the powerful American lobby."
That's what he said.
That's his things. Now,
I have read several articles claiming that, and I don't know if this is true. I want to put that out right front. But I read these articles that said that he tended to leak things, or people suspected he did.
I've been reading some of that now they found the leaker.
Well,
I don't know that that's.
I don't know. There are things when you have strong indications, but you don't have proof.
If they had proof, he'd be arrested.
Probably.
But
I would think so. But he's also a former CIA guy. I mean, he's not a stupid guy. He's very smart.
He knows his way around.
But I suspect his motivations in this, and I think he's just wrong about some of his statements.
Well, something that's pretty interesting about this thing is when you have somebody that's at a high level, and this is the highest level that's resigned from Trump,
right,
during this administration. The left is going to just throw flowers at him.
Yeah, right.
And embrace it.
Oh, wonderful.
And say, come on our show. We'll talk to you and stuff. They're not doing that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Dana Bash, she's a CNN anchor, say Kent is not a typical intelligence official. He is a Trump appointee known for his ties to white nationalists, Nazi sympathizers, and an embrace of the J6 conspiracy theories that we have seen so much of on the far right. So if that's CNN right away that is going to throw that stuff out there to discredit him, which is in support of Trump almost.
It almost is. It's saying, oh, well, this guy
But
shouldn't have been up there.
Usually somebody quits Trump and they say, well, good for him. He's the most intelligent guy that was working for Trump or something.
Yeah. You know, oh, he's seen the light.
Yeah. They're trashing him. They're pointing out.
I did not expect that. I kind of expected he'd be on all the shows, you know.
Right. They're going to show up on The View tomorrow.
Right. Oh, Mr. Kent,
you were so mistreated.
We so sympathize that we're so mistreated by the Trump administration when you're only trying to do what's right for the nation, something like that.
So
again, sarcasm.
So yes, sarcasm, but it's interesting how many stories I've got right now that just don't fit the profiles we've been looking at.
Yeah, so it's kind of odd, makes you wonder what's going on. But there has, like I said, there have been several people claiming they have sources that he was suspected as a leaker and that they had cut off his information flow.
And I've seen those on social media, but again, there's no arrest. There's no.
Right. But like I said, sometimes you have strong indications, but you don't have proof.
Correct. Of course, we don't need no stinking proof.
Well, you don't. I mean, you serve at the pleasure of the president. And how many people have you seen in organizations where they're brought into an office and quietly told, look, we don't think you're a bad guy, but you can't work here anymore. Now, here's the deal. You can resign or.
Yeah, that happens.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, it does. I got to make a quick announcement that Michelle Pena, a friend, and just a really good at what she's doing as our representative in state at state. She needs signatures, so I want everyone to sign her petition. Now you can go online and do it go to Yuma County website and it'll direct you how to sign a petition, or you could just drive right over to Air Central Heating through Friday. Just
now, does her district cover all of Yuma?
No, just District 23.
Okay,
that's south. It goes all the way down San Luis
and west.
Well,
east. I mean, south and east, right?
I live in District 23, and I'm just below the hospital. Yeah. But if I ended up going east, I would drive right out of it pretty fast.
I think I'm not in it. I'd have to check.
No, you're not. You're not in her. You cannot help.
Right. Well, I can help by saying people go sign this.
Yeah, you can help. Yeah.
but I can't sign myself. Or let's put it would not be legitimate for me to sign.
Yeah.
We have that whole line in California. They were not supposed to, but they were perfectly capable of signing. They were just not doing it legally.
It's just if somebody checks, you're in trouble.
Well, and yes, in California, why do I have this suspicion that nobody's going to check?
So get over to Air Central, Heating. Even if you don't have a bad air conditioner, you go ahead and get that done.
How many signatures does she need?
I have no idea, but she still needs them. And so does Derek Egebert here at Mortgage One.
Unfortunately, I'm not eligible to sign this either
because you're not in the city. But if you're in the city, go over to Mortgage One and sign one of Derek's, or go online and do it.
Well, I'll have to say I was very impressed. I was talking to Derek this morning. You watched me because. And he's an impressive guy. He's very smart.
Yes.
And I think he's also probably a good candidate. You just because somebody's very smart doesn't mean they do good.
Well, no, you got to look at what they've been doing. I mean,
you want both smart and good.
He gives back to this community constantly.
I think that's correct.
And he's a Caballero. In fact, he's going to be the El Presidente next year.
Wow.
For the Caballeros, which is a big commitment.
Doesn't it take a lot of work?
Yes. Yes.
Makes me tired just thinking about it.
Yes, it does. Now, I'm also a Caballero, but I am not. I'm a life member.
Well, you are.
That means you
have a lot of other things, other irons in the fire.
They can't kick me out. I don't have to go to the meetings.
Okay.
he's a regular member. He has to go to all the meetings and participate.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a
didn't know that.
requirement. Yeah, if you want to be on the Caballeros, you
See, I'll have
you
to
you got to do stuff.
I'll have to think that. That's a little leverage I could use, talking to him.
Yeah, and to become a life member, um, you have to volunteer for positions like running an event or doing something.
Oh, wow.
And every time you do, there's so many points.
You mean
Depending,
you can't just buy a
no,
life
you can't buy it.
Oh, man,
You can't
most
buy a valve,
organizations
nothing.
I'm in, you could just buy a life membership. Like the
No,
NRA, just pay
no.
money.
You had to earn it, and it took 100 points. And some of these committees, you get 1 point. You're on
Wow.
committees and do all this work. And
Yeah, I know you've been very active, so.
in the past, I'm pretty. I haven't gone to a meeting in a while now. Derek assumes that I'm going to start attending them because he's the El Presidente, and he might be right.
I was going to say, I'm not sure I'd want to commit one way or another on the air.
He's been, he's very adamant. He'd like to bring back some of the members that haven't shown up for a while.
I am amazed often at the amount of talent that exists in this country.
Oh yeah,
we have this vast store of talent, and most of it is underutilized, in my opinion.
sure.
Now, the interesting thing about the United States, this is my opinion, my philosophy, is that we do so well because we allow people to make their own opportunities to use their talent. And so, whereas in other countries where you have to constantly get government permission to do this or that, a lot of people can't use their talent because there's no way for them to do it.
Right.
Here we do. And we've been more successful than most other places. There's probably room for a lot of improvement.
Oh gosh, yes. I think we've lost some edge. We have, and
through essentially over regulation.
right, exactly. And a lot of that's going away right now under Trump, but it's in danger of coming back if we don't maintain.
Well, you mean Trump is reestablishing some of the possibilities for opportunity we used to have.
I mean, the regulations going away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he's working hard at that, and we've seen some positive results. I think we will see more, but yes, that's a serious problem. And a lot of it comes from sort of envy and this idea there's only so much pie. We can't let that person have more because he's taking it from me.
Right.
But what he's really doing is baking more pies.
Yes. And I think that's pretty simple and easy to figure out, but somehow it just doesn't permeate the left mind.
It
doesn't get there.
We have this complex, the human brain is very complex, and we both want something for nothing and also believe we can't get it.
Yeah. Couple things happened in Yuma recently. Fire at 12th Avenue and 12th Street. It happened Tuesday afternoon. That was yesterday. The Yuma Fire Department says they got called to the scene around 1:30 in the afternoon. These things are happening in the afternoon, but it found smoke and flames coming from the backyard, which I guess alerted them to run to the backyard and put it out, which they did without permission, probably.
We had a pretty good sized fire out in the foothills a few days ago.
Oh, I didn't notice that one.
It was over right close to Hank's, where Hank's hardware store was.
Yeah.
A huge billowing
Close
clouds,
to the mic.
huge billowing clouds of black smoke. And the police had cordoned off about 2 blocks in every direction.
You don't know what it was from?
I have not investigated.
Okay.
I initially got in a car and I couldn't get closer than about 2 blocks with a neighbor of mine. And we could see, it looked like some petroleum or tires or something like that, because very dark black smoke.
Well, just show them your media credentials.
I didn't think of that. I should have, but I don't normally cover fires, so
they don't know that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They don't
know that. But once they got the fire put out in the backyard, they saw smoke coming from the house vents.
Oh,
they got in there and did a search, and they found that it had gotten into the attic.
Oh my
from
goodness.
the backyard, and they put it out and probably saved that building probably from becoming dust.
It had gotten into did it start in the attic, or did sparks go into the attic?
I got the impression it started in the yard, and it got,
and it had a ventilated system, so it got into the attic.
Into the attic somehow. Is what it sounds like.
God, it's kind of scary because a fire in the attic is pretty nasty. I mean,
and they were able to contain all the damage to one room, so they dodged a bullet.
Wow, that's good firefighting.
Right, they jumped right into it, and it's the Yuma Fire Department. So somebody's thankful. Also, there was a murder, triple homicide
Oh.
a few years ago
Oh, okay.
in September 22nd of 2022 at 4:30 p.m. County deputy sheriffs were dispatched to County 13th Street and Avenue F, where two bodies were found on the side of the road. Kirsten Carrillo at 28 and Daniel Herrera at 31. I remember when this happened,
I vaguely remember it, but it's been a while.
and both of them from San Luis, Arizona. And then 7 miles away, in less than 10 minutes after the initial call, they said, you got to go to 8th Street and Mojave Lane. They discovered
Third
a
person.
Juan Luna Montiel, 45-year-old, wounded by a gunshot, and he died shortly after he
Were
got
the first
to
two
the hospital.
gunshot as well?
Yeah, all
Okay,
of
so
them.
it's all firearms.
All of them. Well, they had a suspect pretty immediately, Ivan Humberto Asuna, but he just got found guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder. So it just happened today or
4
yesterday.
years.
Yeah, it took yesterday.
I mean, did they quickly have him as a suspect?
I think so, but he was he was in another state. He got picked up on a non-related charge. How do people that have this kind of thing hanging over their head, where they know the police force is looking for them, and they get arrested at another state? I go in other states all the time. I never get arrested. What do they? They don't
Our
lay
ability
low.
to communicate has become so great,
But
and
he
our
was-
ability to records.
But he
And-
was arrested on an unrelated crime, so he was committing a crime in another
Right.
state.
Now I don't know. Is he American citizen, Mexican national? What?
Doesn't say. It doesn't say.
Because if I were a Mexican national, I would be not in this country anymore.
Yeah.
That or maybe you go somewhere else. It's getting harder and harder to get away with crime.
Yeah.
I mean, and even though, when did they arrest him? Does it say?
It was not long after that. It was a few months.
And so he's been sitting in jail or prison for most of 4 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
3.5 years, I guess.
Right.
And
No,
then, he just got convicted. That's
Yeah,
a
he just got
long
convicted.
time. I presume there wasn't any bail.
I would think not, or he couldn't make it one way or the other.
Yeah,
but-
well,
but that's a tougher one to get bail on, isn't it? With 3 murders like that.
Yeah, well, it would be depending on a lot of circumstances. But he was in some other state when they arrested him. They must have had some kind of eyewitness testimony, I would think, or camera evidence. What? You've got me interested. I may look up some of the particulars of the case.
I have an opinion on the Iran war here.
Okay.
From a listener. It says, I'm not going to Star Wars. I'm going to stop wars. Quote from Trump during the 24 campaign, which is true.
He hasn't started this one. We've been in it.
47 years.
The
Yeah.
Iranians have been at war with us for 47 years. So he's stopping a war.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, not everyone's going to.
Right.
And he has stopped some wars. He claims 8.
Yeah. And by the way, this is a very strong way to help stop the Ukrainian war.
Amazingly, yes. This one hurts Russia worse than I knew.
Well, at the same time, Trump has put out the carrot. We're going to take the sanctions off Russian oil for a while.
We already took some.
Yeah.
Which is bothering some people. Like, that money's going to go back into the war to fight Ukraine.
Yes, but I think that might be a signal to Zelensky. Look, you think you're gaining ground right now. You got to make peace.
Yes, it does. And everything I've read in the last few weeks, Russia's losing ground.
Right.
We'll see if it's true. He says, I can see why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly are critical of the Iran war. Instead of sending our Marines, Israel should send their ground troops. Trump, a master of military strategy? ? That was you that said it.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
I back that up. Look at his successes. Amazing stuff.
He says, in what universe? Your co-host seems to look at things through rose-colored glasses as it relates to Trump. Now, you're one of the more skeptical people I know. So
right.
you don't quickly say that stuff. Not just leftists, but also conservative pundits are being critical of Trump's actions, such as Ted Cruz versus Tucker Carlson. I didn't know I didn't know Ted was critical.
Yeah, I saw something, but I think it's kind of peripheral.
Tucker's become a little bit.
Tucker, certainly.
He's a little
And there's
wacko,
some
yeah.
others, maybe Bannon. I'm trying to think a couple others.
And I like Tucker Carlson, but he's really
He seems to have
weird.
gone off the deep end to
Yeah.
me.
He said, wasn't the first U.S. attack on Iran so effective that their military was no longer a threat? And I think what he's talking about is that first attack being the nuclear
Where we
attack.
took out the nuclear.
That's all it was. It wasn't to disable their military.
Well, it partly did, and we took out a lot of their air defenses. The Israelis did about the same time.
Well, they did.
And I would say if you're going to stop Iran being a threat, you have to end their ability to project force outside of Iran, and we've done most of that already.
He says, did Trump exaggerate? Question. He does embellish quite a bit, and that's a fact. He does.
Certainly he does. He that's just the way he talks.
I don't think he's exaggerated on this now. From reports I've been reading, like 90% of their capabilities on missiles has been taken out.
What we know is that their launches have been reduced by something like 90%, and their drones have been reduced by something like 95% in terms of the attacks going out from the country. That's what I've read.
And they had like 400 launchers, and at one time they had destroyed 75% of those. But I don't know if that's current. Probably more.
It's kind of like whack-a-mole, and when a launcher comes up, it gets destroyed. What I'm reading is that the launcher crews are starting to say, "No, I'm not on a suicide mission to launch this missile."
Now they said 100% of the Navy. But that they're not including those little bitty boats, those fast ones.
At what point do you say it's Navy? I mean, you can have a rowboat and it belong to the Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that. I guess technically it's part of the Navy.
Well, the speedboat is actually part of their military for sure. I mean, that's right. That's what they're there for. It's a swarming.
I suppose we could look at tonnage. You know, how much displacement did they have, and how much is left?
And they're saying 100% of the Air Force gone.
Appears so, from what I can tell. Yeah. Airplanes are much harder. You can have hardened bunkers, but bombs will take care of those too.
Yeah, they took care of them. But good comments.
I think very interesting.
And he did say, "I'm not going to start wars. I'm going to stop wars."
Yeah, to me, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, not everyone's going to see it the same.
Yeah,
they're not.
But it's hard for me to listen to Ayatollahs chanting "Death to America" for 47 years and say they're not a threat.
Well, here's an alert that I just got from Edward. The latest Iranian post appear to confirm that my beloved corner of Crystal City has been thoroughly obliterated. That's where that's where he lives.
Yeah, right.
Of course, Crystal City is where the Pentagon is.
Yeah.
It's in Crystal City,
Virginia.
Virginia.
It's not far. I've been there. I've actually walked, I think, from where Edward is supposed to be to the Pentagon. It's it's relatively short distance.
Yeah. Oh, it's right there. It's not close. He says, I can only hope President Washington might see fit to offer temporary refuge at his Mount Vernon estate. I count myself fortunate not to have been home, for otherwise I would have likely have been vaporized with the rest of it. Of course, this is all sarcasm.
You have to put that in there. People will think you're telling them.
And I must hand it to the Iranians. They were so industrious as to hack my home security system and replace it with a counterfeit live feed. Besides, that is not merely because he's gone on to live feed. Look, it looks like it's still there. That is not merely hostility, but a rather admirable commitment to his craftsmanship. My hope is that Yuma is spared from this continuous bombing of D.C. and Northern Virginia by Iran. For if it is on the internet, it has to be true. Of course.
Well, we've all learned to be skeptical because we've seen so much fiction on the internet.
Well, Iran has been putting a lot of AI out there that has been just ridiculous.
Well, but people who want to believe it will believe it.
Well, Edward's one of them.
I think
it was tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll give him that.
But I saw some AI. Somebody sent it to me thinking that I might use it with my bear stories. And it was AI of a talking grizzly bear attacking in a weird way a Yeti, a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot.
I think I saw that one.
And then I'm like, the amazing stuff you can do with AI.
Yeah. hopefully AI eventually eliminates Hollywood because those are repugnant people.
Yeah, we're well on the way. We're
Oh
well on the
man,
way.
I am so tired of Grammys and all these
I
award shows where they
I don't
congratulate each other
I
and
don't
they
know where this ends up.
and they just make it all political. Always. And they just hate conservatives, bash Trump, and then give each other
But
awards.
look, we probably got 20-25% of the population that's in the leftist information bubble.
Yeah.
What will happen if they are being continually fed just fabricated stuff to reinforce their belief structure? That's not a healthy thing.
No. No, but I'm waiting for AI to take over all the movie industry, and we don't have to hire them anymore.
You may be talking tongue in cheek. I take it seriously. I think that can happen.
Yeah. And then they'd have to come up with AI to bash Trump.
Not hard to do.
They do it. I want to talk about a hospital that broke the law. They took away patients' life support without family approval.
Ooh, where was this?
Britain.
Oh, I thought maybe
See,
you're
it
talking
changed. It changed everything all of a sudden.
I thought maybe you're talking about Canada.
No, Canada could. They've got the ability.
They're performing more and more assisted suicide, I guess they'd call it.
Without consent.
I read about one they claimed that the person retracted their consent, that they were older and had Alzheimer's or whatever. In the last minute, they didn't want to go through.
So be careful if you use hyperbole like "I wish I would just die" or something. Don't do that around them.
Oh yes, I mean
they might be able to help you.
Yeah, I'm hearing these disturbing things in Canada about how they're saying, if you're mentally retarded, you don't have a good quality of life. Maybe you should just decide to die.
There's been famous people that have thought along that same lines. Hitler did.
Yeah,
and he carried that out.
We had the whole eugenics movement in the U.S.
Right. Apparently, this 68-year-old man had been in a coma for a long time. It's since March 3rd of last year.
So, okay,
yeah. So he's been in a coma, and it was decided that hospital can't, it's a clinical decision that he's brain dead, that he's not going to return. The family said, no, I'm seeing signs of movement in his eye movement and all that. We've heard those stories.
Sure.
Before, and the doctors are saying no. So they say it's a clinical decision and we're pulling the plug. And that means they stopped I think his treatments. They just stopped his treatments.
There's a whole different levels of this. I mean, it's one thing if he's on a respirator. It's another thing if they just stop giving him oxygen, or they stop giving him water. Or
he needed kidney dialysis twice a week to stay alive.
Okay.
So they said, we're not going to do dialysis anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to let that go. Well, the family fought it, and they went to the Court of Appeals. They had to. They don't have the decision making,
right,
over the hospital, and this is your government.
Well,
hospitalization.
If your healthcare is supposedly free, you have to ration it some way, because
you do ration it.
There's no infinite supply of fairy dust that turns into healthcare.
Well, according to their own rules, there's what they call a court of protection under Britain's Mental Capacity Act. If you're unconscious, that it goes to the court. It doesn't go to the family; it goes to the court.
Okay.
And but the hospital, they just called it a clinical decision. A decision whether or not to withdraw treatment has to be has to be the best interest decision. There is no carve out for a clinical decision, which means they weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So the daughter knew that. This Leslie Townsend, she knew that. So she went right to the Court of Appeals and to challenge the hospital's decision, and they sent the case back to the Court of Protection. And especially the court handles the financial health care and all that stuff. It says vulnerable people may lack capacity. So by the time she got through the courts, he had died.
Yeah.
How terrible is that?
Yeah.
I mean, was he probably brain dead? Probably. I don't know. I'm not a clinician. I'm not a doctor. He had a
Yeah.
stroke a year ago. He's been in a hospital ever since. But in this case, it's not the family. When you start getting into government care,
Right.
the government, and I was on the hospital board for 9 years here, and the one of the directors was from England, and he was just amazed. And he would tell me the difference. He says in England, at a certain age, if you fall and break your hip, you just get crutches. They're
Yeah.
not going to do a hip replacement.
Right.
And that's just what it is. That's the way it is. That's a rationing that goes on.
Right. Because healthcare is not infinitely available.
Nope.
So here we spend huge amounts of money on it.
Oh, we spend double, triple of any other Western country. I
Right.
don't know what the numbers are anymore.
And
And
it's
we don't
hard
have
to-
better results.
Well, some are a little better and some are not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way what I see it. I think certain treatments, maybe for cancer, we're better at than a lot of places.
But in Canada, you mentioned Canada. I've done so many stories where Canadians have a serious illness, a serious problem,
Right.
and they can't get an MRI. You have to wait 6 months, and that can kill you.
I was just talking to somebody, a Canadian neighbor. Okay.
Yeah.
And they have changed the regulations up in Canada. It used to be you could come down 6 months, no problem.
Right.
Now, in order to maintain your health care, you have to fill out a computerized form every 3 months. And it's complicated and difficult to do.
Of course. They don't
So
like.
that's another way they ration it.
Yes, they don't like us either. I mean, they don't want to help us, and they lose income. I mean, the money, the dollars that get circulated down here if they come down here.
Right.
So I'm sure they, selfish reasons, say stay in the cold. The cold's good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember I've talked to some people. One of the guys we were helping him with his car repairs, and I took him home, and he said, "Well, this will be the last year we come down." I said, "Well, why? Why is that? You don't like it here anymore?" And he says, "No, we love it. We want to come down, but they have a law in Canada. Once you reach a certain age, you have to pay for your health insurance if
What?
you go out of country,
Oh my goodness.
and it's so exorbitant we can't afford it.
Yeah.
So you get free medical care, but at some point, if you travel, you have to pay insurance. You're not allowed. You can't.
Yeah. Wow. Oh gosh, it's probably 40 years ago. There was this video that went about, and it was called The Bread Machine or something like that. And it was about how the government would provide free bread for everybody. And the end of it was that, yes, the bread was free, but you paid so many other ways. It was the most expensive bread in the world.
Right. Of course. And that's where a lot of countries are right now with their free healthcare and free everything.
Yeah, it's free. You get this free, but you got to pay for all these other things.
Now I've talked to people in Canada that love the healthcare system.
Yeah, I have to.
They just love it, but they've never had any serious illness.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and but if you have a cold, if you just have scrapes, bruises, a headache or something, they're like Johnny on the spot. They're right there.
Yeah, but if you have something that requires high tech now,
Stand in line.
right?
And the heartbreaking story I did. In fact, I
That's
interviewed.
not 100%. I've talked to
No.
people say, well, if you've got a serious problem, they'll take you
Probably
right
not.
in.
But I interviewed a girl because she just wanted to get the message out to America. Don't go for government-owned healthcare. And she wanted to get that out because she was told to wait 6 months for the MRI because she had an eye
Right.
tumor. Went to the United States, got an MRI done. They said, no, you need to have that removed. It's going to make you go blind. And it's a problem. It's cancerous or something. And
You need to do it now.
she went right back to Canada and said, here's the MRI, here's the diagnosis. I need this surgery. They said, I told you have to wait 6 months. We can't accept a foreign MRI.
Yeah.
So she went back to the United States, got that done, saved her eye and saved her tumor and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But she got a second mortgage on her house.
Yeah.
She had to pay for it.
Well, part of the cost of free healthcare.
Yeah, but you had free healthcare other than that, so that was pretty good.
But
Not much
you know,
help.
I don't want to minimize the problems we have with the healthcare system in the U.S.
We-
because it is the most expensive in the world, and we don't get the best outcomes.
all true.
And so we need to change it. President Trump has been trying to figure out ways to do it. John McCain stopped the last attempt. So hopefully we'll get it right this time.
I like the things that he's mentioned that kick it off if he can get those done. And one is complete transparency.
Right.
There's nothing transparent in our healthcare.
No, it's
We don't know what anything costs.
far from transparent now.
And then give the money to the patient and let them decide which hospital and at what price they're going to pay for the procedure.
Right.
So
Now there has to be sort of a caveat that with that. We're giving this money to you for your health care. If you blow it all, it's not our job to give you more.
don't give them cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like a health savings account, maybe.
Something like that, or something, like the insurance companies sometimes write a check to you and it has to be co-signed by the guy that's doing the work on a body shop.
Yeah, I hadn't
Yeah,
seen
the
that.
two
Well,
of
that
them.
makes sense.
Yeah, something like that.
Otherwise, you get Somalia in Minneapolis.
Or you just give them a note that I'll pay $2,500 for that procedure. Just have the hospital send me the bill,
yeah,
and I'll pay up to $2,500.
Yeah.
You know,
something like that.
that would work.
It's more bureaucracy than I like, but maybe it's
The
the only
bureaucracy
way
we
out.
got now is
It's
ridiculous.
huge. Yeah, it's horrible.
A doctors don't get to spend time with the patient because they're doing paperwork.
Yes, I remember talking to a doctor, and I think we both knew him at the time, and he basically said nobody can practice medicine now without committing felonies because
Well,
they make so many things into felonies.
But the way they do it, and he's right, but the way they do it is you get into a work for a hospital or a big group and let them take the responsibility.
Yes, right, and
And
let them do all the paperwork.
And then they've got these brainiacs that are every day updated on what the latest codes, the latest everything is. Because when they change a code, these mom and pop doctors are not going to.
I'm going to inject a grain of hope.
Okay.
Elon Musk says in 5 or 10 years, everybody will get better health care than the best possible health care available now because robots will deliver it for cheap.
I love Elon Musk, and he's probably right. I just think he gets his dates wrong.
Yeah, Elon time is notoriously faster than everybody else thinks.
He's thinking faster than he can actually get the work done.
I think so, but I can see some of that. We see that there are robotic tools being used for a lot of surgery that do a
Right.
very good job.
I recently had that heart procedure done. I liked my guy. I don't know that I would have been happy if there was a robot available. Probably not. Not at this point.
Well, theoretically, notice I emphasize that, a robot could do better work than the best human surgeon because they don't have the limitations.
Right. They're not hung over.
Well, it's not just that, but theoretically, they can do very fine work at a much more granular scale than a surgeon can. I'm not saying they can right now and it all works out, but they can keep improving where we have biological limits.
Right. Well, and procedures done though, like once the doctors cut me open and look what's inside, it's not going to be exactly the same problems. But I guess the computers can get around all that.
Look at where we've gotten, how much less intrusive things like putting in a pacemaker are now.
Oh, I know.
They cut a little incision and go through an artery or vein and I mean, or whatever. I mean, and it's just a time where they used to cut your whole chest open.
Right. Break your ribs,
Yeah.
crack them open.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to go through that.
Right. I mean, so what I'm saying is all of this is trending more and more toward automation being more and more possible.
Possibly.
I don't know if it's going to take 10 years, 5 years,
From
20 years,
talking to my doc,
but it's coming.
the tools that he's working with today is so much better than a year ago.
Yes.
I mean, it's been progressing that fast.
It's accelerating and accelerating, going faster and faster and faster all the time. And it's an exciting time to be alive. I wish I was about 20 or 50 years younger.
Yeah. Don't we all? But it's amazing to think that they actually shoved a camera in a vein and then wired it. I mean, and tracked it all the way into my heart and took very detailed pictures of the
Yeah.
inside of my heart.
Yeah.
And they did it rapidly.
And it's getting that used to be a fairly high risk thing.
Yeah.
And it's getting less and less. And
Thank you. I'm glad.
well, I too, because there's a little artery on your heart. They call it the widowmaker.
Yeah.
And apparently it's really hard with the external imaging we have now to tell how much it's obstructed. And so theoretically, it's going to get easier and easier, which means that people will be able to prevent more and more heart attacks.
Right. Absolutely. I have to go to the doctor today, get a follow-up, and it's only been a couple weeks, but I'm back to 100% normal. The people around me are treating me like I'm fragile.
Well, aren't you?
No. No.
I'm sorry. It was such a setup. I had to go for
In
it.
fact, I told you what I did this morning because I have an event tomorrow. The Republican Party has an event tomorrow, and I'm supplying all the audio.
Right.
And my audio is fairly heavy. I mean, it's some heavy stuff. So I told everybody I was going to be putting that up, and they're going, no, we're going to help you and all. And I picked it up at 4:00 this morning so that I could peacefully pack all my equipment up.
Yeah, well, I have volunteered to help.
And I know, and I thank you for that.
Because
I
I am,
go faster.
because I'm
You're a compassionate guy.
I'm a young, healthy guy.
You're older than I
am. Yeah, I figured I'd get that response.
Don't give me that.
But I'm in fair shape for my age.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a quality of life thing.
It is. And that's going to get easier and easier to do. It's easier for me to do now. I look at my watch. My watch tells me what my pulse is. It keeps track of how I'm sleeping. It's just amazing stuff.
My wife tells me I'm obsessed with looking at my watch. Because I've had all these issues with AFib and the surgeries and the pacemaker. And I'm wondering what is going on in there.
And I all of this stuff, we're heading toward the time where all of our biological stuff is going to be automatically tracked all the time and go directly into a computer file somewhere so that we can keep track of it. Now, right now, it's all voluntary. I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. I'm getting ready to see the doctor today for a follow-up on the surgery for ablation where they went in to fix the AFib. And I'm glad I got 2 days in the gym because I was really curious, like what's going to happen in the gym? Is my heart rate going to behave itself? Am I going to be
right? Yeah, no, obviously that's the type.
Well, my trainer's really nervous about it. He wants to make sure I'm going with lighter weights, which makes sense. But he caught me yesterday because I was doing squats. That's when you put a bar on your shoulders, and I put 225 pounds on it, and I did 8 of them. And he came by and said, no. He took 50 off. He made me finish up. I had to do 3 more sets. And
you're in really good shape. I don't think I could do that. I haven't tried.
I couldn't do it on day one. I spent a couple years in the gym to get up to that. But
sure.
So I did back off. So I was curious to see what I could still do. I've been a month out of the gym.
Right. And my experience is a month is kind of on the edge of where you start really losing capacity.
And I wanted to get right back to it. But then I was worried about my heart rate. Now that in the past, if I had done 2 or 3 squats when I had AFib, my heart rate would have gone up to 180.
Okay.
After just a couple, I had to really go with much lighter weights. I had to do 5 or 6 and stop, and then do 5 or 6 and stop, and all that. I did 8 with 225 pounds, and I hit like 150 maybe at the moment for just a few seconds. So it's kind of remarkable.
It's pretty intense exercise.
Oh yeah, it's a hard one. But then push-ups always. I couldn't do push-ups really.
Interesting.
For some reason, some exercises I could do, and some I could sit on a bike for 20 minutes and maintain my heart rate. Not if I didn't go too fast. But not on some of these exercises. If it was heavy weights seemed to be the most.
So you're talking about push-ups. I'm kind of interested because I've been working on those.
Yeah, I know you have. Well, part of it was, part of our exercise was push-ups. I said, good, and it said to do 10. So I said, I'm going to do 20 and see where my heart rate goes. And it did hit 155.
I easily understand that.
So I backed it down and I started doing 10 at a time. So I mean, I ended up doing, I don't know, 80 push-ups, but I I do 10, it would go up to 130, I'd wait till it goes down, do 10, do 10, do 10, and,
Well,
but
that's how you do it. You build capacity.
everything seemed to be in good shape. I mean, I didn't have any problems. Heart rate was fine. I felt a little weaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. And uh, I've been building up on push-ups, and I find what I read was the best way to do it was to go to failure and then wait a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then do another set to failure.
right.
And that's what I've been doing, and it's been building up and working that way. Um, but the reason I did that is that there's a study out there and a pretty well done study. I mean, I've read it and it sounds like a large number of people, I think it was firefighters in Iowa, thousands of them, well, at least maybe 1,500. I'm trying to remember exactly. And they looked at them and they found that people who could do, and these were, I think they were all men, uh, could do 40 push ups
Nonstop?
nonstop.
Okay. I can't right now.
Right. But people who could do 40, their chances of having heart problems were it's only 5% of those who couldn't do 40.
I believe that.
Wow. So I thought, gee, I need to be able to do 40. So I think I can do that now. But
Yeah.
the problem is that I haven't set up any video or anything to watch myself, and I worry if my form might not be good enough.
Oh, have you seen Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, do his and everything?
No.
His form sucks. He's doing half a push-up.
Oh, no, I haven't seen
But
it.
but don't get me wrong, the guy's in great shape. I love him. I mean, he's in great shape. He's got a great example and all that. But my trainers would throw me out on his form. You know,
Yeah, and
no,
so,
unacceptable.
So the other day I tried to concentrate more on form, but I still did about 50. So
Wow. Well, let me
but
judge you
but
next
I
time. You can do them for me, and I'll tell you if you're
I
close.
did try they've changed the push-ups for the military now. They call them hand release push-up, I think, and it's where you get down and you put your chest on the ground, put your hands out to the side, bring them back in, and then do another push-up. And they're much harder. So I might try to see those and see how I rate.
And what is that? Why?
Why are they harder?
No, why are they doing that? What are they looking to
They
accomplish?
just wanted a different standard that they thought was
So
a better standard.
you have to rest your chest.
You actually go down to the ground, rest your chest, put your hands out to the side, bring them back in, make sure your fingertips are inside your shoulders, and then do a push-up, and then come back down.
Okay.
And
Never heard of it.
yeah, it's called the hand release push-up, and it's a lot harder. And one of the big things you have to do is you have to keep your back straight while you're doing this. Your back. So there's a whole bunch of muscles involved. You're supposed to do that in a regular push-up too, but in a regular push-up, because you don't come to rest at the bottom, you kind of get a springy effect from your muscles.
You got to keep doing push-ups because at your age, people fall. You got to be able to get back up.
Right. Well, and some of the research I was doing on this, they said that if you can strengthen your core, and push-ups
Right.
do a lot of that,
Right.
you're able to keep yourself from falling a lot easier.
Correct. And falling's a big problem among,
Oh, it's serious. Yeah. Oh,
and it's dangerous.
very dangerous.
My son-in-law who has ALS is losing muscle constantly. But for him to fall, it's more dangerous than ever because he can't stop himself. He can't put his hands out.
Well, and that's what I was reading about, is that if your core gets weak, it's very hard to keep your balance, because once you overbalance a little bit, you can't as quickly exert control to bring it back.
Right.
And I hadn't thought about that before, but it makes perfect sense.
Well, and that's why I work with the trainer though, to keep working on the core and the things and working on my balance. And they purposely change up the exercises all the time so that's always in play.
Yeah, maybe I should do something like that, but it's so much easier to just do push-ups and do my running.
I'm not that I'm not that disciplined. If I had to rely on my
self-discipline.
Yeah. I don't think I would, but if I have an appointment on my calendar that I got to be at the gym at 4:00.
Whatever works.
Right.
I don't have any problem with what you're doing. I've managed to do what I do because I thought it was worthwhile.
Well, if I had the discipline to do it, I think I would have done that. But I've tried it many times and I fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't make it. Oh, looking forward to the wildfire season in Arizona.
Hmm.
Actually, it says looking ahead, not looking forward.
Ahead,
So
forward, kind of same thing, isn't
I thought I'd mix that up a little bit. Just sounds like, what do you mean looking forward to? Department of Forestry and Fire Management said Arizona saw far fewer fires in 2025 compared to previous years, despite there being a high potential for fires. In other words, dry.
How was our rainfall? I thought we got more rainfall than average in 2025.
I don't recall,
Okay,
but I know we didn't get a lot this year, at least
not yet.
in this. So this year we'll have a high potential too, as the lack of fires from last year means there's a lot more fuel.
Also, the water. If we did get more, and I think we did get more rain, that creates more growth of shrubs and plants out there. And then we don't get the rain and they die and they're dry and you have a lot of fuel.
Yep. According to John Truitt, the fire management officer, he says, we don't have the amount of acres burning, but there's still a cumulative of it. It just puts it in the fuel bid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's not burning, so we can't win. I mean, if we don't burn, we're going to have more fuel. If we do burn, it's bad.
Well, if you have land that is grazed heavily, then that a lot of that fuel gets turned into meat for the table.
Yeah.
But not everywhere has that. And when you get a lot of rain, you can't just create a few thousand cattle to graze on the shrubbery out there overnight.
But we're coming up into the fire season. We got to be careful. Even in Yuma, I know we don't have forest, but we get grass fires
and even then they're generally not actually grass fires. There's some special type of vegetation out there that looks a lot like grass from a distance, but it really isn't grass.
No, and you get those around areas where people are for some reason. I wonder what that is.
Well, for one thing, where people are, you have a lot of rain concentrators like pavement, and that the water flows off the pavement in the streets and goes places and accumulates, and you have more chance to grow stuff there.
Plus, people cause it.
Oh yeah,
there's well-intended campfires or throwing a cigarette butt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even an empty bottle, if the sun hits it just right.
Oh really?
Yeah, it can act like a magnifying glass. Not common, but then a lot of these things are not common. You don't. There's even chains being dragged behind a truck create sparks.
Oh, true.
So
there's people, but so be careful where we can.
Right.
We're coming into the season. The article here about the voter ID bill, the Save America, where we need voter ID.
This is voter ID. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the Senate, and there's been a lot of noise about it already, and it became very obvious listening to a lot of our Republican senators in charge. They don't really have any intention of passing it, just giving it lip service.
Unfortunately. And it's a very popular bill.
Well, if you consider 85% popular.
Yeah, right. It's hard to get there. Hard to get 85% on anything.
Chuck Schumer says not a single Democrat will support the SAVE Act. It's a radical bill. Radical?
Well, sure. It's radical at preventing voter fraud.
Wow.
Radical means getting to the root of.
Well, one of the things that John Thune is the majority leader in the Senate, who I am not impressed with on this. I mean, he just has lackluster. He doesn't.
It's like he really doesn't want to do it.
But he wants to give it lip service and say, well, we tried.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the way I see it.
Well, the Republicans, got to get behind it. We have, I think it's Murkowski that said she's not going to support it.
Oof.
Senator Lisa Murkowski. She joined all the Senate Democrats to block the legislation.
Why? Why? Yeah.
Why?
They can't give a good reason.
It's just, you're going to make mothers get an ID and they can't, they don't know
how to get an ID.
They lost their birth certificate. I mean, it's just ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But Senator Tom Tillis, who threatened to do everything he could to block the bill, did not vote. So he just abstained. Murkowski voted against it. So well, still that gives 51 votes, but that's a majority. But you need
there's the strategy they're talking about. You probably know this is to go to a voice filibuster.
Yes, but I don't
unless
think,
you have strong support with the Republican leadership, it won't work.
Well, Thune doesn't seem to think he's got enough people to do that. I mean, he keeps saying that, and it's annoying Trump, you could tell.
Yeah, it annoys me.
Yeah. But they're still out there like Lee, Senator Lee has been very, very vocal. That's Mike Lee out of, I think it's Utah. And then Rick Scott out of Florida and Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin are really pushing it. And they say it was partly successful in getting the bill on the floor. It is still destined to fail.
Well, but all of this sounds like defeatism. We can't win. We can't win. We really can't win. Why try?
They still could win the floor fight if Republicans get this thing teed up and we do not leave it in until it passes. So that's it. It's a standing filibuster.
Yeah,
it's not the zombie filibuster where you say, I go home and let because we can't discuss it anymore. This is you don't stop discussing. You don't stop.
And politically, I think it makes a lot of sense if the people of the country wonder what's going on in the Senate, and they start looking at why are we not voting for voter ID.
Mike Lee says if your senators don't support using the talking filibuster to pass the Save America Act, you might need to replace them.
Well, it makes good sense to me.
He's serious, but I think we're seeing more seriousness from our legislators.
We are.
I like what the House is doing.
Yeah,
the House. I think they have 50 Republicans right now that say they will not vote to pass any bill coming out of the Senate until the Save Act passes.
Right. It's a serious thing.
That is amazing. That's amazing. I've never heard him do that before. And Johnson's behind it also. He's in favor of it.
Yeah, Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. Uh-huh.
Because we talked about Ron Johnson is why.
Okay, but this thing has gotten ridiculous. This is the most popular ever. That's Trump that says that, and that's not hyperbole this time. It's actually true.
Yeah, it is. When I looked at those results, I said, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's been popular for a very long time, but for some reason, the Democratic leadership hates the bill.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
None of the Democrat Party doesn't. I mean, the voters.
The voters. The voters are like 65% for it or
like
something.
70. 71, something like that.
Wow.
In favor of it. But so 71% of the legislators should be, but they're not. They're 100% against. But they did take the floor Tuesday, successfully launched it. We'll see where it goes. And part of their strategy is to get the Democrats on record to vote against it.
Right.
Well, they're already on record. Chuck Schumer says they all vote against it, but I think it's special when you get them up there.
Look, if you get them on the podium saying we do not support this, then you got a campaign ad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the Republicans are looking for more of that. Plus, maybe they break rank.
Maybe if there's enough pressure brought to bear.
I don't think they will the first time.
No.
And this thing may fail. It may fail again. May fail again. May fail again. They just can't give it up on it.
Right.
They got to keep coming back. And there is a problem that they're going through this. There's always this possibility, and I know Thune says that. But if we do that, the Democrats will put on amendments we don't like. I just stop the whining already.
Yeah.
And vote the amendments out if they're junk.
Right. Exactly.
Trump wants to put amendments on there too. Those probably won't pass either.
Right.
He wants to put other stuff on there, but it probably won't make it. Let's get the Voter Act bill done, whatever it takes, and if make it clean. I don't care. But it does happen that people will put poison pill amendments in.
This is common. It's a common tactic.
Yeah,
and I've seen it a lot. And then they hide behind and say, well, the Republicans didn't vote for that. And they don't tell you that the amendment put in by the Democrats was that you have to kill 100 babies before you do this.
You put something stupid in there,
but they do put things like that, or we're going to increase taxes on the billionaires at 10% of their wealth. Or
absolutely. Let's see, in Illinois, I'm really liking Illinois less and less.
Yeah, it's sad to see what's going on there.
You know, and I didn't realize how much their governor, Pritzker, that just how much money he had and how much control he had, the family money.
Yeah, he's very wealthy.
Yeah, and they don't mind using it to rig elections or help elections.
He's a billionaire, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
The Hyatt chains.
Okay.
The family owns it and all that. Well, there was a see, who is it that stopped running? I think it was Dick Durbin or something. Is he Illinois?
I don't remember. It's not something I've been paying attention to real close.
Yeah. Oh no, this one's Jan Skowalski, a Democrat out of Illinois. There was a crowded primary to replace her. Now she's a representative. I'm thinking Dick's senator, but she's a representative, and there was a lot of money put into and support to get her replacement.
Person,
Daniel Biss, the mayor of Everson, he did end up winning it, but somebody came close. A social media influencer and former Media Matters journalist, Kat. I can't pronounce her last name, but she lost the bid to replace. But she got close. Now she is far left.
Yeah.
She's
Matters,
26 years old.
Left.
26 years old. And she's part of, and this article says, a part of an increasingly politically active cohort of left-wing Gen Z activists who have been critical of democratic establishment.
Yes, no question that the far, far left has taken over the Democratic Party.
And it says she's a new type of Democrat, new type of campaign. And she writes, she says, if you're a right-wing billionaire or a member of the Democrat consultant class, this campaign isn't for you. She just comes out and verbalizes it. I don't want you to vote for me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's smart. I mean,
well,
why would you?
It's sort of the Jacobin tactic, you know. Does she have a guillotine in her truck? I wonder.
I don't know. She said during the debates, even during the primary debates, she doesn't support the leadership, including the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, I think we see something like that because that's sort of a Trumpian thing on the right. You know, we now have the Trumpian party instead of the Republican party. Well, it's a Republican Trumpian party.
I think that's fair, but anytime the president is the president, they're the leader of the party.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is the left is getting rid of their old leadership and they're going further and further to the left.
I think they're trying to.
Well, some of them are succeeding.
But for her to come out, Kat, just come right out and say that right up front.
Like, that's pretty
are you trying to win the election or what?
Because usually those candidates are not popular in the general election.
Well, apparently she was this time. She's one of 15.
I thought it was a primary.
I mean, it's a primary. But the general doesn't matter here, but this is
because it's a Democratic. Yeah, it's so democratic.
It's only
whoever wins the primary is going to win.
This is the whole election. Yeah. She was one of 15 people running to replace Jan there. She's retiring after 30 years. The mayor of Evanston won it, Daniel Biss or whatever, but but the fact that this progressive influencers now are having such a big deal.
Well, we have a similar case on the right in Texas where Brandon Herrera won in the multiple entry primary, and they were going to have a runoff with the current representative in district. I think it's District 23 in Texas, and but there was a scandal involved. The current rep, and I forget his name right off, Tony Gonzalez, and he had an affair with a staffer. And the people in the House, led by Speaker Johnson, said, "Hey, Tony, we're going to investigate you." And he didn't resign, but he's dropped out of the race. and that puts Brandon Herrera as the person in the Republican primary which went over 60% Republican in the last election. So he almost certainly is going to be the next representative from District 23 in Texas.
This Cat lady, she also has federal charges against her from last year. She attacked immigration and customs enforcement officials, ICE vehicle outside a Chicago suburb. She's a wacko, but these people are starting to get serious notice. They're starting to get serious votes now.
Yes,
and there's serious influence.
Yes,
we're going to look at Chuck Schumer later and think, boy, he was such a moderate.
Well, they're talking about possibly AOC running against him for the second Senate race, but with her stellar performance in Europe, I think that may not happen.
What a joke.
Again, sarcasm. Got to put
she's still in the top 5 as potential president.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, who was let's see, who was that vice president that ran last election and lost?
Tim Walz?
No.
J.D. Vance ran.
No. I'm talking about.
Oh, Buttigieg.
No, the actual vice president who ran for president, the lady.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, how come my brain is not working on this? Yeah. But I think her as the presidential candidate and AOC as her VP is the dream choice for the left.
No, I think not.
But where's a moderate candidate on the left?
There isn't one.
Right. Correct. I mean,
Shapiro maybe.
But he's Jewish.
Yeah, so they're not going to accept him. The left won't accept him.
I mean, and again, I got to be careful there because I am saying sarcastically
Kamala Harris.
What's on the left. They will the far left will not accept Jewish candidates. No. I don't believe.
No, Kamala Harris is who we were.
Kamala Harris, AOC. That's
I don't know how I couldn't think of that.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
I was drawing a
brain disease is setting.
She's apparently back ahead in the polls.
I've seen that.
Newsom, I thought, was taking it over, but no, it's Harris.
Newsom keeps putting his foot in his mouth. It's amazing.
What difference does it make? They're Democrats. They don't seem to care.
Exactly. But for the general election, it makes a difference.
I would think so.
I think it does.
I hope it does.
I mean, sure, President Trump is not the most smooth spoken, but we've all calibrated that now because we've seen the results. So we're willing to put up with somebody who's a little gruff, who exaggerates all the time.
He's a New Yorker.
Yeah. We're willing to put up with it because he does everything he can to get done what he said he will do.
Yeah. I kind of like him. One person I don't like is Amanda Donnie. I don't have a lot of time to talk about him, but he seems to think that he's on a complete mandate, 100% protected, and can say and do anything he wants.
Fortunately, he is young, inexperienced, and hopefully gets himself in a lot of trouble because his ideas are really bad.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
And he's taken so many. I mean, he sticks his neck out to have his opinion about everything, and he's so pro-Muslim at all costs.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think so.
Like, why don't you just be make New York healthy? I don't think they work on that at all. He wants to move the minimum wage to $30.
Yeah, well,
in New York. What's that going to do?
I'm hoping it creates enough pain fast enough that they get a better administration.
I mean, I'm not going to move there if it's $30 an hour or anything, but because you'd still have to live there. But it's insane. I mean, how many people would that put out of business? I mean, how many pizza shops and other stuff?
You're going to have a lot of automated fast food places.
It wasn't that long ago that AOC, working in that area, was demanding $15 as a living wage. It's $30 now.
Yeah.
Because of inflation. Well, guess what? After it gets to be 30 for about a week, you're going to need to go to 40 because of inflation.
Yeah.
It's never going to stop. Why not just make it $100 an hour? Just start off and just go.
Yeah. I mean, I forget. I think it was Milton Friedman or somebody said, well, if $10 an hour is good for minimum wage. Why not 100?
Yeah, just do it. Well, there's a lot of reasons.
Because it doesn't work. There's no connection to supply and demand and productivity.
And federal minimum wage is still 7.25, I think.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, that's not Arizona minimum. That's federal. Well, we'll be back, or I'll be back tomorrow. It's already. I think we sat here for the whole 3 hours.
We did, because you are such an engaging speaker.
That's not true. I'll be back. I'll see you tomorrow.